powered by two feisty kangaroos on a wheel. On a merry-go-round. They hop.
Struggling through we will get there.
We will get there.
We should be doing good. We're figuring it out. Getting ducks in a row.
Yeah. The ducks, monkeys. What are the ducks like? Apart from the monkeys. Donkey, that's right. Man, everything's a Pokemon now. They're just like throwing darts at a board to figure out what they're doing.
Chandelier Pokemon.
Yeah.
Ice cream Pokemon. I don't know what's going on.
Literally, I tried to play some music and there was literally like a trash Pokemon.
Yes.
Like, and all I can imagine.
Trash. I've seen RoboCop. I know that's not a good time.
That's fantastic. Man, how long is it before they re- The Just Dread was actually quite good. The remake.
Just
like
Dread?
Dude Rain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Actually
so good. And it was a struggle. Like Carl Urban and Olivia Thirlby and a lot of them directors fought really hard in that movie. It sucks that because I want more. It was successful and they're still struggling so hard to do more.
No. Why would they?
So I mean, like one of my favorite parts. I love the original RoboCop.
Yeah, I don't know. The original RoboCop I absolutely adore, and I think of RoboCop every time I see a Warhammer Titan.
Awesome.
Okay, looks like we're finally here. We have both the presidents,
monkeys, Pokemon,
the monkey ducks. It's like the winged monkeys. Oh, that's what the winged monkeys on Wizard of Oz are. They're monkey ducks.
I don't know. Well, I guess they have wings, so that makes sense. I would be disappointed that they don't have beaks, though. I mean,
just playing God, that Wicked Witch of the West.
The
Man,
hybrid abominations. Yes.
That was some beautiful adjacency. Hopefully, you guys all enjoy.
Well, it looks like we might be back, gentlemen. So.
Okay. Well, let's go. Straight into game one, please.
Yes.
Yeah, let's run it down. Table 1, Table 2, Table 3. Let's start.
Okay, so I have one quick update for you, Adam, that I was told by our boys behind the scenes. The Hive Tyrant is already dead. One of the keepers is dead. That was about to be expected. But I'm actually thinking that the Tyranids may have made a big mistake having to the last and having it be the Hierodults, because I don't think there's any way.
Exactly. He has to use them.
Yeah, I mean, well, he has to use them, but I don't think the speed of the both Be'lakor and the Keeper of Secrets, I don't think there's any way you keep them safe.
Oh, exactly right. There's no way to keep them safe. You have to put them off the board, which is just an absurd proposition. As it sits right now, Be'lakor is going to go straight through this one hero Jew like a hot knife through butter. 6 attacks hitting on 2s, winning on 3s. He's going to have a 6 up because he's got a 2+ innate armor save, and then it's just going to be D3 plus 3 on all of those. So yeah, he could very well pop that one in pretty short order. It looks like, yeah, one keeper's already been picked up, but his pink keeper, the one that is the While We Stand We Fights, has got some wounds on it and is sitting in the top left-hand objective. This lock is just going to be here all game, though, isn't he? And that's the power of the lock. It doesn't have the explosive abilities of a lot of other Greater Demons, but it's just going to be here for 5 turns, which means it's better in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, there's no clear way for the Tyranids to deal with such a thing. And I mean, as we can see here, Be'lakor and another keeper are about to be fully within the Tyranid lines. So I mean, I don't know how this one. I feel like this demon, sorry, not demon. This hero duel is absolutely going to go down to Be'lakor. Will this
Yeah.
hero duel go down to a Keeper of Secrets? Likely.
Yeah, well, look, if that keeper looks like he's most likely to have made it in, although unless it had to charge into a screen of some kind, because we're definitely into the Tyranid's turn. Looks like he's on a metabolic override in order to get onto that upper right-hand quarter objective. But here's the issue that I thought we'd find in this game. I thought this mission heavily favored the demons, because as soon as they get board position so much quicker, as in onto the middle of the board so much quicker, and then they're so much harder to dislodge once they're there, because they have greater demons they can sit on them.
Yeah, so
but whereas
I want to
Tyranid
just cut in real quick.
go.
Just to counter that real fast, I had actually played to the Tyranids having a better option on the objective early, only because they have things like metabolic overdrive and better reserves. But maybe the speed of the demons is just too much.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. The demons can sit back in the deployment zone and sling units out from that position. But the thing is that they're going to, when you sling out those units, it's more to disrupt rather than score on your own terms. So the things he's slinging out are not gonna kill stuff in his own right. They're just going to go out, take points away from the demons, and then be picked up in return. I would love to know. There looks to be a GSC unit in the upper left hand corner, just down below the pink. Below the pink.
You think you're thinking that's maybe a unit of cultists up there?
Well, no, I think it
or
could be
acolyte hybrids.
Acolyte hybrids or hybrid metamorphs if he's got them, because they'd be on the bigger bases, I believe.
The acolyte hybrids and the hybrid metamorphs are all on 32s.
All on 32. So yeah, could very well be acolyte hybrids, because they're definitely not 25 mil bases. But I could be completely wrong, and there could be some demon model I'm not accounting for in my head.
I'm trying to see.
Because I thought all he has is greater demons or greater demon style models, a couple of beasts of Nurglings and demonettes. Nothing else is going to be on a medium-sized base apart from his Poxbringer. So anything that's on bigger than a 25 and smaller than a 40, I'm assuming is a Tyranid model.
Now, the thing that would confuse me about that is that the acolytes are in units of 5, and there are clearly 7 models there. So maybe it was either 2 units of acolytes.
Or his Magus. And so you're saying he's got units of 5, and there's 7 models there, 100%. So yeah, it has to be 2 units for sure.
Because it wouldn't be the demonettes are certainly not on bases that big, and the Nurglings are on 40 mils.
No, he's got 1 7-man and 2 5-mans, 2 6-mans. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Does he?
So he's got one 6-man, 1 6-man, 1 7-man, 2 6-mans. Yeah,
my apologies, everyone. The list I just saw the 5 acolyte hybrids. I didn't take into account the leaders, which is in addition with this list format. Yes, so that should be a 7-man acolyte hybrid unit trying to steal that back objective.
Exactly right. Looks like he is as well. Absolutely right. And we'll be able to do that for another turn or 2 at least. If not, if he brings some acolytes onto the table, puts them back in reserve, he can do it again turns 4 and turn 5. It's really important that he body blocks the 3-inch cold ambush, like as in popping up 3 inches away, and he makes sure that if he does get that 3-inch cold ambush, it's not on an objective, and next turn he just picks him up with like any old thing.
Now, I'm wondering what his plan is for some of these units in his backfield with regards to the Keeper of Secrets being right in the center of his army here. And I mean, like,
well, exactly right.
I think he could kill the Keeper with his shooting, but I don't know how he handles a Keeper and Be'lakor.
Well, here's the thing, yeah. If Be'lakor gets his hero duel down, so obviously Be'lakor didn't kill the hero duel on the turn it went in. So I would love to know how many wounds there are left. But Be'lakor kills it in his turn because it doesn't look like the hero duel's fallen back because he's already doing reserves. So he goes through the hero duel this turn. I'm assuming he's going to try and buff the hero duel up to the absolute 9s to keep it alive, possibly even spending 2 CP to give it D3 wounds back. But then Be'lakor just goes around the corner and eats the Hive Guard.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. Like, because originally, like, there was the best plan I saw the Tyranids to have was essentially to use the Hive Guard to
they are not.
This is not so the chat to the people in the chat. This is not using the new Tyranid rules that they just got on Saturday.
Yeah.
You need to have essentially the rules a month in advance before a tournament.
So this event started on Friday, and those rules came out this Saturday. So yesterday. So there's no way they're using those rules.
But originally I was seeing it as Tyranids plans, being that the Hive Guard would just be focusing on any objective scoring on these objectives. Yeah. And that they would be nearly untouchable because the Tyranids would just wall themselves in from greater demons, just keep throwing roadblocks in front of the Slaanesh demons.
Exactly right.
But now, I don't think he has any roadblocks left, and I think Be'lakor, as you said, can just go. He's gonna. I mean, very easily, he's going to go right through the warriors back here, and then he's right
Mm.
into the hive guard, and
Well,
that's lights out.
Exactly. Well, either he kills the warriors and taps it, or he gets close enough with his piling and consolidate and his move that he can fly over them or get the charge and move over them.
Or even if he
also,
just
no, you can't do that. Sorry, he's got fly, but he can't use it in the charge move. Apologies.
but even well, he can use it to move over any models. He just can't move over the train. But the thing is that he doesn't even need to. All he needs to do is go into the warriors. If he can't consolidate in,
exactly right.
As long as he can get within with his consolidate after he kills the warriors to get within 3 inches of the hive guard, what do? Because as soon as they move, they lose all efficiency. But if they don't move, they get heroiced into. So
exactly, I love that idea. And what, you're going to stand there and you're just going to hope this one shot kills Be'lakor for you? I mean, there is a good chance this keeper goes down because, admittedly, you can't have -1 to wound on all your keepers. You can't have +1 invul on all your keepers. You got to, mix and match. Some have got some have got others. So this keeper might be an easy prospect to pick up with ranged fire. And if it is, it could just be Be'lakor and the lock trying to hold this up. Admittedly, because I think he's quite reluctant to use his pink while we stand we fight keeper. Which probably means it hasn't got a good defensive buff on it. If he's not using it, it hasn't got a good defensive buff, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to. That's the only way that it's going to be effective. Can we jump to table 2 real quick? Apparently, there's some stuff happening on table 2.
Dramatics abound. Oh, there it goes. I told you it was going to happen. He's just going to decide 1 point. He's going to swamp it.
Okay, so I actually think this was the better option for him to go straight at that objective. I think going for the center was absolutely the wrong choice. And he didn't
100%
do it.
agree.
Because,
Yeah, I would notice one thing. So a couple of things to note. He split up his blade guard. He's going to use a 6 blade guard. He split it up to have those sit in his back line to insulate himself from either ad flanks or deep strikes or just nuisance units. And he's picked his moment. He's governed up all his stuff behind that back right hand big piece of line of sight blocking terrain, and then he's disgorged the entire contents of bloody everything. The jumper down there, deep dive, isolate. You see where he's putting the venoms. The venoms are going to charge in, and they're going to be the roadblocks, and everything's going to charge and pivot their charges around to the bottom of that unit. So he's going to have the venoms, the own terminators if they survive, and a bunch of probably of his weaker units between him and the killy stuff. Which means next turn they get to go up straight into the middle if they survive, if they make it through. And even if they don't, damage is done. You're taking away just one of these units. But like you said, he could flub rolls. He could just fail to do enough to this unit. It could go one way or the other. But I think that's like that's a lot of units, brother.
Okay,
that's
I think the thing is, though, is that this is more than I expected him to commit, and there's enough models here, including the 2 Venoms, that he'll get enough models onto the objective that even if he killed 2 Terminators, he would have enough lasting power that at least for 2 turns that objective would be his if he didn't commit these Terminators down to help. And,
exactly right. Now,
and obviously he'll keep the Terminators trapped in combat because why wouldn't he do that? So,
do you see what other cheeky thing he's doing? He's got 3 Venoms on tagging that middle objective. Now, why would he do that? It's because there's 3 Terminators on that objective. So all he's going to do now is going to put like a millimeter of 1 Cabalite Warrior's base on that middle objective, and he's going to give his opponent a 0 on the primary next turn.
Yep. He'll get anything, any small OBSEC unit just to contend. And it's also advantageous for him because that contests that, and either the Terminators choose to commit more to take it, or they go this way to try and help the other Terminator unit, and it's bad in both worlds.
Spot on, mate. So this is looking pretty good for Sean. Now, what I thought would happen. Now, see, I think this may have been a mistake. A lot of people when they play the scouring, I don't want to say this is a mistake that a lot of people make, but a lot of people do what has happened here, and this is very similar to how Sean won his last game. He isolates one portion of this army, in this case, one whole brick of Deathwing Terminators, e.g. 1/3 of his opponent's efficacy. He's going to isolate it, he's going to chew it out, he's going to take it completely out of the game. If I was a Deathwing player, and this is the way I usually like to play scouring, I pick a triangle of 3 objectives. One just outside my deployment zone, the middle one, and then one just outside my opponent's deployment zone. Because I can reinforce and swing between those 3 objectives so much easier than I can swing between these 3 on the long
Of course, because we're seeing that these Terminators, that like the distance in order for them to come help that objective is immense. They essentially, it's all according to Sean, but at this point, but I see these Terminators basically almost being out of the game.
Out of the game, out of the game.
And that's a big deal. I mean, that's he's not going to move off that objective because obviously he then loses any chance of getting primary, but then as well, he can't just like decide to try and shoot them to death because most of the time, everything down in this bottom portion of the game is going to be locked in combat. There's no shooting potential available.
Yeah, exactly right. So do you see what I mean though about that making that triangle? As it sits right now, if every unit of Terminators moved up one objective, and that middle unit that's in the middle was moving and advancing to the backfield, especially after you saw the redeploy from Sean put everything behind that back home objective, you're just like, well, I'm just going to cop his whole army to the face if I go into the bottom right objective if I'm the Deathwing player. So of course, top left, middle, and to the left. If anything
Yeah,
comes out onto the middle objective, two whole units of Terminators can just go eat everything in one go.
yeah,
As in,
and
he
I
can't do
believe
what he's doing right now.
And I believe the Deathwing player's best option was to go for the 3 objectives on this side of the board. One,
Yeah,
because he
exactly
has
right.
firing lanes going this way
It's
and this
spot
way,
on.
but also he has this piece of terrain that's preventing Sean from just getting real estate on the objective
Exactly.
where he can
Exactly,
hide
dude.
things.
Spot on. There's no way for him to get enough models on that objective. You put 10 Termies on there, he has
They
to kill
have
them
it.
off. You can't
They have it.
sneak anything on there. It's theirs. Yeah, exactly right. Looks
Okay,
like
so this is going to be playing out. Let's jump to table 3 real quick. We should check in on the AdMech and the Orcs game.
here
Now,
comes reinforcements, man.
apparently, I was told that in the AdMech turn 2, at least 4 of the squig buggies had been killed. So that's a big deal. Because
It is.
essentially, how is he going to engage into the objective holding units of the Skitarii at that point with so many squig buggies gone?
So it's an interesting dichotomy that the Orcs have, because they have so much anti-infantry in the squig buggies, anti-mech in the scrap jets, and then sorry, anti-infantry in the squig buggies and the Dakar jets, and anti-mech in the Wazbomb and the scrap jets. In this, when both lists are at such a polarity of extremes, losing any one portion can be game losing. Like if you're the Skitarii player, you kill the rocket trucks and you're like, ha ha ha, you can no longer kill my bricks. Or vice versa, you kill all the scrap jets in the Wazbomb, you're like, ha ha ha, I cannot kill my planes. It's kind of whichever one gets to take that portion of their opponent's army away is
Yes, I mean it's to a point where it's
just
like
in the commanding position.
It's interesting because as well we were talking about the buggies in general have an immense footprint, so it's very hard to move them. This piece of terrain right here is interesting because most people don't know, who haven't played buggies, they're actually very low to the ground. Their ability to see is very limited, which means a Skitarii unit on this objective is totally immune from any shooting that's not squiggies from that side of the board.
Exactly.
That's huge.
Yep. Well, it's a good and a bad thing, that really low profile. It's a boon and a bad thing. Like I play a Lehman Russ, and you can see a Lehman Russ over damn everything. And then, but you play a Squig Buggy, and you go, oh, here's this nice like 3-inch high wall. Well, I can't see you, can I? It's damned. It's good for some, not good for others. Had a comment in chat. He said, how is the terrain set up reasonable for the board though, with 2 objectives having 0 cover on the same side? And that's because at ITC or FLG ruled events, players set up the terrain, so it gives you some agency in making sure that if you want to play the game with an open board, have good lanes of fire, you have the power to do that. At the same time, if you want to have a congested and hop from place to place for an aggressive army, you have the way to do that. And in addition, you also have a say in how your opponent places theirs.
Of course,
as well.
of course. So let's jump back to table 2 real quick so that they can do some adjustments on table 3 with regards to the lighting so we can see the game better. So on table 2, obviously this is going to be a hot engagement soon.
So the Cabalites just came out from one of the Venoms, taking away that middle objective. That is a big old donut for turn 2 on Joel's primary, whereas Sean picked up the 5. And little cheeky 5s here and there is big in this mission. Sorry, mate, go.
So yeah, obviously I think Sean's plan is to score. He was fine with a 5 early. Now he's going to commit fully to one side and basically put the Dark Angels in a really poor position with regards to retaking even 2, maybe 3 of these objectives. It may be stuck with just Drukhari having 3 and the Dark Angels having 2 for the rest of the game. Now, with regards to the train placement you're talking about, clearly both players were okay with this being a wide open nothing.
They were. Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, the Dark Angels player, as we said, should have capitalized and gotten onto these 3 objectives and used that to his advantage. But unfortunately, he spread out too much, whereas Sean knew that. He was like, well, that's the absolute worst place for me to be on the table. Let's just go this way.
Sean's playing the triangle. He's playing the bottom triangle, and he's dominating it. He's decided, hey, well, I can just take one of your unit of Termies completely out of the game and just contest with 2/3 of your army rather than with my whole army. And like I said, those ones being out in the open, it works in the Dark Angel's advantage, because like, what gun is he actually scared of his opponents? None. He gets a 2-up against the Venoms. And then he's got 4 blasters? Pfft, whatever, man. Maybe you kill 1 Terminator. Who cares? I got an Apothecary.
And it's even worse because he's dominating this objective. He will be dominating this objective. He already has his back one, and he has a little throwaway unit on the top right objective. So after this, the Dark Angels player could have only one objective, which was, we know in this mission, is 0 points for primary. It's a hold 2, hold 3.
Mm. So Detective P.E. Jones, so you have to try and guess the flow of the game to put favorable terrain on your side. It's absolutely, it's a skill check. Is your vision of how this game's going to play out the same as your opponents? Are you seeing things completely differently? Is the way you want to place terrain counterintuitive to the secondaries you've picked, which we have seen also before? Or is the fact that you have certain terrain pieces more abundant on some tables than others, changing and mash up a lot? We saw Joel, the Dark Angels player, essentially dominate a game we thought he was going to lose because he had savvy terrain placement. How did he do that, mate?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, he with any of the terrain placement that he did, especially against when he played against freebooters, he just immediately capitalized on forests. He saw freebooters, he was like, -1 to hit is your Achilles heel. I have 2+ armor everywhere. If I grab even one of these forests and it's near a central objective, that's it. And he managed to get 2 of them. Now, in this game, unfortunately, I don't know how he missed that. He shouldn't have taken that top half of the board, because literally it's all to his advantage. He has Oath, so he wants this. But then if he takes these objectives, they also cover this.
Complete the smiley face. Complete the smiley face. It's required. Damn it.
This is his happy place.
All right, cool. That's our quota.
That is Joel's happy place.
Perfect.
And he's not in his happy place. And unfortunately, that means that this unit is essentially completely out of the game. That's very unfortunate. I don't see how they can affect anything, specifically because the Terminators down here are going to be locked in combat, which is going to keep most of the Drukhari in combat for that entire turn.
This is a game where if you can't take Stubborn Defiance in this game. You can't really take anything meaningful in this game. What I would have done, had I been Joel, I would have split up all my Termies. I would have had, the exception of one 10-man brick, which is your central one, and then all your one that goes through objective 4. They go there, and then you got 4 5-mans. All the ones with cyclones sit on the top left-hand objective on objective 3. Every cyclone being bodyguarded by 2 guys with storm shields, and then 3 guys with storm shields and 2 storm bolters and chain fists go for number 4. You got 10 guys going there, 10 guys going there, but all the cyclones sit on number 3 because they have a beautiful vision of fire. Onto 4 of the 5 objectives, they can literally just shoot anything.
Yeah, and at that point, where the Venoms go, how are they useful? Because the Cyclones, essentially, all of these Terminators can negate any of his -1 to hit. So the Cyclones at this point have full firing lanes this way, which means because remember, Cyclones as well can just do frag missiles, which if he throws little nothing units onto this objective, they can just get fragged to death.
Yep, exactly right. And Stormbolters can't be overstated in this matchup. Like, just like 20 Stormbolter shots sometimes just kills a Venom with rerolls, Just flukes kills a Venom.
You're Terminators, so you're shooting max shots at 24 inches all the time.
Exactly right.
Which covers this happy place once again. So he should have just been there, and he wasn't there. It's going to be really hard for him to come back from that. I actually don't know what his plan is at this point.
I think if I'm Joel, I see this game is pretty cooked, and I just guarantee I get 70-ish points. Whatever you got to do, you're probably going down, get 70 points. He's so high. He's so high scoring right now. He just needs to walk out of this with a bucket of points, and he's going to make that top 8.
Yes, I 100% agree. He should just take the loss as what it is and just score as high as he can. Maybe something can happen with this combat and he gets a little lucky.
He was the top-ranked player in the event going into this one. He's on 467 points. If he can get to, say, like 510, 520, he's almost guaranteed a top 8 spot.
Yeah, I mean, that's his best option at this point, and we know that at least likely 5 of the players in the top 8 are going to be players with a loss, which he hasn't had one yet. So this is like his free game to get a loss in and still make top 8 and then bring it back to day 3.
He can absolutely learn a heap from this game if he plays Sean again in the finals as well. Because I believe this might not be a traditionally winnable game, but it's only because the first time you play against Drukhari, especially a Sean Nathan Drukhari list, he's just going to have so much jank you don't know. And you look at his list on paper and you're like, well, I expect him to be quite MSU and go here and do this. And you're like, oh dear, oh God, oh my, he's putting 30 combat models into me turn 1, turn 2. It's just like,
all right,
ultra aggressive.
Well, while this is resolving, let's jump over to table 1 and see what's going on there. So,
Bellacor's still up. The Hyrule still up. The Pink Keeper is gone. Is that correct?
It looks like, yes, the Pink Keeper that was here is dead.
He's dead. Yep. The purple one in the middle. Sorry, the pink one that is the While We Stand We Fight is still alive.
Yes, that one is still there, but has completely abandoned this back objective, which means it'll just go to Hive Mind.
That's really weird.
So, I didn't expect his shooting to be this effective against the Keepers. But
Hmm?
the advantage that they have is that they're high enough strength that you can throttle one turn of getting +1 damage, and those damage times 3 multiples will start to go through keepers very quickly. And
Where are they getting the +1 damage from, brother?
from the Tyranid strat of the pathogenic slime. It's 2 CP. Any monster can make their gun suddenly +1 damage. So all of the
Any
Hyrule can
monster.
become
Oh,
damage
yeah.
3.
Yeah, damage
And that's a
3. That's
big
correct,
deal.
yeah.
So all he
I
needs
thought
to
you said
do
the
is
Hive Guard for
throttle
some
that
reason. I was wrong.
once. No, so all he needs
Hmm.
to do is throttle that, because obviously this hero duel has currently not been engaged, which means he just needs to throttle for one turn. I think this is the right plan. Kill one keeper guaranteed per turn, and
Yep.
suddenly he can't hold these back objectives.
Yeah,
That
he can't
becomes
hold them safely.
untenable.
Yep, exactly right. You're spot on, dude. And I didn't pick that up. It's one of those strats you just don't remember that often. Look at these beasts. These single beasts of Nurgle are coming into the fore. They're advancing from the back line, being kind of the last thing left there to pick up these middle objectives. So these back left objectives, once everything else moves up, it's going to get a charge with one of the beasts into the acolytes. And who knows? He might just take it, but in all likelihood, he probably doesn't.
No, I mean I
Um,
don't think the beasts are particularly that effective in combat. They just last a long
yeah,
time.
they're D6 attacks. That's strength 4. They're damage 2, but they got no rend, which is fine into Gene Stealer Cult. They got no armor, so it's much of a muchness. But
Well, they have
the
5
D6
plus
attacks,
saves.
whatever.
How dare you?
Yeah,
They have 5
yeah,
plus saves.
those time 5 plus 8 are actually pretty relevant. All of a sudden, I'm interested to
Um,
see what this lock does. I really want to know how many wounds left on that barbed hero duel, because I thought he would go down that turn. He must have catalyst or something up there keeping him up for
he
sure.
does. Yeah, I'm assuming he has catalyst. He does look like he's down to a single dice, so I'm expecting single digits for his health to be remaining. But I mean, this sort
Hmm.
of change, I expect to go straight this way into the higher duel and just tank it forever. I don't think there's any
Yeah,
reason for it not to just sit there and just be on it the whole game, because it's never going to
exactly
die.
right. It's never going to die, man. He can't kill it. That guy is so ridiculous. Looks like what have we got in this back line? We've got a couple of demonettes just sitting here. They looks like they're moving from the middle objective over to the bottom left-hand objective. Probably just do a bit of screening out and make sure he can't do on the bottom left the same as he did on the top left, with just jumping up some cult ambush acolytes to steal objectives.
Now the question is, I'm not sure. That may still be close enough for the cult ambush to actually get on the objective, but clearly this is a
Yeah,
10-man
it might
unit.
be.
They can't take it. They can't take it from you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point. You put 10 guys on it. And interesting enough that he's only got, looks like he's got some Nurgly sitting in the middle of the center objective, that should be enough of a footprint to push out the 3 inches. If they're sitting in the center with a 40 mil base, or 2 of them with a keeper blocking out one side, he just need to move those Nurglings like slightly down, just like an inch or two, and he would block that out entirely.
Now I expect the Hive Guard to either in the first step of the shooting phase, because remember they can shoot twice, to clear those Nurglings. I think that would be a good choice, or if range, clear the Demonettes. If
Yep.
possible, if they can even, keep in mind he has units of 6. As long as he kills 5 Demonettes, then suddenly if there is a 3-inch allowance here down at the bottom for the forces of the Hive Mind, he could come in and just yank that objective away.
Yep. Spot on, brother. But yeah, it looks like that unit of warriors down on the bottom. I want to see what the spells are that this Lord of Change has, to see how many directable smites he has. Because if he has just the ability, if he's got that staff for +1 of the mortals as well, he could just direct 6 or 7 mortal wounds, pick up those warriors directly below him. So Baleful's sword, Bolt of Change, he doesn't have the staff. Never mind. So he's got Gaze of Fate for a free reroll. Infernal Gateway for the D3, and then the Splash, and then Smite. Oh, sorry, he does have a Staff of Zinch. Apologies. But yeah, he does not have enough mortal wound pointy things to get down there, knowing that he can't get a smite there because I think the Haro Jewel will be closer.
Well, it's also detrimental going against the
Oh,
Hive Mind, specifically because if he comes
dude.
at the Hive Mind, then he's in Synapse range, which means he's
Mhm.
-1 to cast as
So
well.
and I want to point out something else as well. Look at the position of those fiends. He has 2 fiends now that are going to be able to charge those Hive Guard. The Hive Guard can't fall back from him.
No, that's very
That's
bad.
that's no bueno. That's much no bueno.
Um, let's see. Can we get a shot at the angle of the Hive Guard and see if there's anything screening them from the fiends?
Yeah, hopefully there's something in front of there. Even if it's just a unit of 10 Hormigans, it'll make all the difference.
So
But
we're
yeah,
gonna
it
see
should
if
be a
we can get
couple.
that real quick. No, it's
Hmm.
unfortunately on the other side of the board. So if Demeki can check, is there anything in front of the
Oh no,
Hive
we can
Guard
see
in
there.
that building?
We can see right there.
Oh,
There is
there we go.
nothing in front of the Hive
Oh,
Guard.
that's bad.
So
That's
yeah,
very bad.
Are they cav? Are fiends cav or beasts? I hope they're beasts and they can go through walls.
Now here's my question. Can we go back to the top down so we can see how much CP they have?
Hmm. Um. ba, 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 ba. Yeah, I'd love to know for sure how many CP they have, just so we know what he can dunk on and he can do some of the jank with. Because there are some janky Be'lakor strats, and on top of that, Be'lakor is just such a beautiful and baller model. Is that I think it's only 3 wounds left. There's a 3 at the behind that barbed hero jewel, which means he's susceptible to smites. And if anything, I'd be lining up for that lock to kill them as well. But looks like now we're in the charge phase. Never mind. The fiends are going into the hive guard.
Okay, so
They'll
my
tap.
question going into this was he going to overwatch the fiends, because he did have the CP to do so,
Mm,
but I guess he thought he wasn't going to do enough damage, or maybe he's got another
nah,
plan.
I don't think he'd do enough damage. So what? How many shots to get each? 2 each.
They're 2 each, so it's 12 shots.
So
I'm
2
pretty sure he
hits.
gets the reroll ones for being Kronos, even
Kronos,
in
yep.
Overwatch.
So 3 hits at best, which converts into 2 wounds probably, and then he's got a 5 up. So you kill 1. Yeah. So it doesn't
well, I
kill
mean,
2.
if you kill one, you would have the fiends. I believe are only toughness 4. The Hive Guard are
Yeah, but
strength 5, so they do have a chance they could still beat them to death.
Oh, you're saying if there's only 1 left, you could punch him out. That'd be
Yes.
cute as hell. Holy crap.
I mean, that would be great. I would think that would his best option. Or since he only used the one, this is a crazy play, but he could have used the 1 CP to potentially kill 1 and then actually fight twice with the Hive Guard to punch their way out of the second one. Because he would have 4. He has 4 CP. He would have exactly enough to Overwatch and fight twice. That would have been crazy. Yeah, but then the fiends being there now, unless he really invests to get them out of combat, the Hive Guard are basically stuck there forever now.
Yeah, exactly right. Great discussion happening in the chat. I don't know what you guys are discussing, whether discussing how long it would take those Deathwing to get to that top right objective and whether or not it's worth it or not. I think that is, if that's what you're talking about, please confirm, because I can tell you the rest of my thinking and why I think that way. Because obviously, what's the point going for the one he's gone for now, knowing this is always going to be the case? All of a sudden, he hasn't scored any primary of holding this objective, hasn't scored any secondaries of holding this objective. He's effectively just put a unit of 10 Terminators out to be ground down by 1,000 cuts. Whether he could have another 10 Terminators straddling these 2 center objectives and working his way up the board for a turn 3 or turn 4 into the top right-hand corner.
We have learned that the Drukhari player has only killed 3 Terminators, which is around what we were expecting, and which means he's only killed essentially 2 Terminators. But again, that means they're so swamped that even the remaining Terminators, there's no way he's going to have the volume to get rid of most of these Drukhari units.
I mean, these guys, Terminators, they don't punch their way through witches very well. So even just 5 witches, you need
4
like
pinballs.
Yeah,
they
need
could
like
go
3 or 4
either way.
Terminators. You need like 3 or 4 Terminators to kill 5 witches. You're gonna hit them on 4s unless you spend very precious CP in this game.
Also, you notice
hit them on 3s.
You notice what Sean Aiden did here of a nice little blocking pattern of Venoms from those Terminators coming from the central objective. That's going to limit their ability to engage literally anything that's dogpiling those Terminators on the bottom objective.
Yeah, exactly right. So Nick H, not about worth necessarily, but he couldn't have made it there by now anyways. No, he couldn't have, but he'd still be alive, and now he's about to be dead. So let's say minimum move, so move 5 plus 1 for advance, plus 5 plus 1 for advance. Worst case scenario, he's just 2 inches away from the middle of the board. E.g., next turn with another 6, he'd make that objective or be 1 inch away. And that's the worst case scenario. That's 3 1s on your advance roll. Turn 3, you make it to that objective almost every time. And that's better than having essentially just 1 unit of Terminators go onto a bottom objective, give Short a huge leapfrog into your deployment zone, and not score any points while doing it.
Yeah, and again, the major issue with this objective for Sean is there simply isn't real estate for him to place models safely in order to contest that from Terminators. So as soon as the Terminators get there, it is theirs forever.
So by all means, I could be absolutely wrong in hindsight. And walking into this game, I may have made the same decisions as Joel. This is just my educated guess based on what I see right now. So by all means, this may not be disparaging to Joel in any manner. This gentleman cannot be a guy who makes many mistakes to go this far with this list. The dude's a gun. It's just if knowing what was going to happen, possibly that was a better choice.
It's obviously a bit different for us because we're not seeing all of the little nitty-gritty on the ground. We're seeing the top down and trying to understand it as best we can. We just think that because of this ending up like this, that this was probably his best avenue of approach for the game.
Yeah, it's with all the values of high side, a top-down approach, and having seen Sean play his list a couple of times, it's all the value that we get. So one of the gentlemen have asked, why is he screening his backfield? What's the point? What has Sean got in reserve? If I had to guess,
Mandrakes. Maybe?
Mandrakes. Yeah, I think he's got 1 unit of Mandrakes. Does he have a second unit of Mandrakes? No, he's only got the 1 unit of Mandrakes. So would that be worth it? Would that be worth holding back 2 units of Blade Guard to stop 5 Mandrakes?
No,
I
don't understand. I agree. I don't fully understand the play of having the Hive Guard in the backfield.
Well, I'm about to think that I must assume he's got more in reserve then, because there's no way Joel's too good a player to just hold back one of his best. This is one of his best Eldari killing units. Is the Blade Guard.
So we're thinking that he's doing that just to try and deny engage, because what other value is there to screening the backfield?
Yeah, and Nick Cage, absolutely right. Just thinking from his point of view, walking into this game, you're absolutely right. Just knowing how slow your list is, like if you could have any reliability on the D, like if you could have what Grimaldus brings to Black Templars, having like a D3+3 advance, my God, you could have such confidence with a list like Joel's. But as it is, yeah, purely against a list with such ridiculous speed and dynamics and redeploys as Sean, it really shows the pitfalls and the downfalls of such a ponderous approach.
We did learn that sorry, my name is escaping me. Sean Naden has nothing in reserves. He has nothing.
There you go. So, those Blade Guard, get him up there.
So the question is, and obviously we were having troubles, when did the Blade Guard get placed during the deployment phase? Because obviously that seems like an early deployment phase choice to try and deny.
Yeah, for sure.
Because otherwise I don't see any real strategic value from having those points back there. Now, because Sean has the redeploy mechanic being Poison Tongue, he could have did a little looky-loo and essentially made it seem like he's going to throw units to reserve to take the backfield.
Yeah, but then baited him to leave some stuff back.
Yeah, of course, because there's so much flexibility with Sean's army that and we're seeing like him taking this bottom objective is, you and I are thinking both. That is the end of it, essentially.
I think so. But see what he's down to. I think 3 Terminators left, a character, and his Apothecary there. He's going to lose his Apothecary. Now, losing the Apothecary is actually a big deal because that -1 invuln bubble in combat against witches makes him so much more manageable. In addition to Drizar and Succubuses and all these things. So just losing it here when he doesn't have the chance to use it aggressively to debuff Sean, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth. But, Joel might still surprise us. If he has a great shooting phase, he can still kill a hell of a lot of units and possibly get some momentum going later in the game.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is if he commits enough to this central objective, since most of you're assuming that most of those Venoms are empty at this point. So if he manages to clear everything that's essentially roadblocking him there, then all of the infantry units down here that will eventually kill the Terminators and the character will be stuck in the open against a wall of Storm Bolters and Frag Missiles.
Yes, exactly right. And they need to go absolutely ham. We're going to hit a transition. Which table do you want to go to, mate?
I want to go to table 1, actually. There are some significant things happening at table 1. We'll go back to table 3 because there are some action happening there, but it looks like they may have fixed the lighting.
Yeah, spot on. So it looks like that Barbed Hero Duel did finally go down. Those Fiends have made it into the Hive Guard. This is looking pretty close.
It looks like one of the Fiends was beaten to death by Hive Guard. There is only one remaining.
You called it. If he had Overwatch,
strength 5 with 2 attacks each.
That's so good. What an insult it would be to the demon player, being like, ha ha ha, Fiends make it in. Overwatch, kill 1, punch death the other one. Oh, mate, it's almost like you tried. Sorry. Hive Guard to the face. Would have been so funny.
Oh my God, yeah, that's another thing that's funny, especially going into the new Tyranid supplement, is you can throw the Chapter Master rerolls on them, and everybody forgets that they're still Strength 5 with 2 attacks each. Like, they'll go through these little chaff units that you try to lock them up with, so...
Exactly right. Captain Athenos, he says his brain is exploding with all the learnings, and thanks us for the commentary. Dude, thank you so much. We're so happy we're able to help. If you have any questions at all, any opinions you want thrown about, mate, I've got a lot of opinions. It's just a bit like buttholes,
too many.
Apparently.
Try and get him to stop talking. It can't happen.
If you ever want to know anything about the tables, or if we're not doing justice to one player or another, or miss some spicy tech you want to shine a light on, please let us know, guys. We are very much committed into giving you guys the best viewing experience possible.
Absolutely. So let's jump to table 3 real quick. We're seeing some major traction between the Orks and the AdMech, and it looks like the Orks have been severely struggling against this AdMech.
Oh dear. So he's down to 3 planes from... I know he started with 3 planes. Or no, he started with 4. He had 4 planes, so he's lost 1. It looks like... is that the WASBomb still alive, or does it just look like the WASBomb because it's closer to the camera?
That was the WASBomb in the center. So the WASBomb, it looks like a WASBomb and 2 Dakages are still alive, but it looks like the majority of the scrapjets are dead. And... most of the squig, only 3 squig buggies remaining. These are
Yeah.
scrap jets here, and then
Yeah.
trike,
One squig buggy.
one
Yeah, and
squig
one
buggy.
squig buggy. Yeah.
That is not good.
So I still see 3 planes for the AdMech. They started with 3. They still got 3. Has the Orc player just decided, hey, I just need to contest the actual table right now, and pick up as many bodies as I can in order to get some primary score?
Here's the problem, though. We're seeing the exact Achilles heel of the all-in freebooters list.
Mm-hmm.
He has no obsec except for the 1 unit he gives it to a turn, and they're all 5-mans against blobs of this.
Blobs of 20-man obsec, 20-man obsec, or if not, fast surgical rust stalkers and infiltrators that can go and eat your obsec. And so it really is a tale of 2 stories here. AdMech just continually seem to be the faction that has it all. Anti-mech, anti-infantry, all the mech, all the special rules, everything. The score as it sits right now, 15 for primary to Matt Estrada, 0 to Colin McDade. Huge deal already. 3 on Stranglehold to Matt, in addition to 6 for Bring It Down, 0 for Raise the Banners. That is pretty funny, although I expect him to get a couple up now. Raise the Banners on the Scouring, like, way to make your life hard, but good for you. I guess he's assuming that if he can put banners up with all the obsec he has, it'd be hard for the Orcs to take him down.
I mean,
right?
I'm assuming he's going to get a banners here, and even if he loses the objective, the only things that can really contest that are the plane, which can't take the banner away, or maybe this trike to try and take the banner away. But I mean, we know that he's essentially never losing this objective down here. There's just way too much infantry.
We've got a question in chat called The Moist Man from The Moist Man. Jesus. If Emperor's Children got an update in 9th edition, what do you feel should be done with their mechanics? Andrew, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so Emperor's Children are in a weird spot. They still, I think, need the general Chaos Space Marine update where they need an additional wound.
Yeah.
I also believe that they should take both, let's say, we're saying Noise Marines, but we should say Emperor's Children in general. They should take all Emperor's Children. They should take all World Eaters. They should be in their own separate books, just like Thousand
100%.
Suns and Death Guard, which means that you won't soup them in really to traditional Chaos Space Marines anymore. That unfortunately means that their entire line need a ton of new releases. I would prefer Fulgrim, Full Demon Fulgrim, if possible.
Yes, please. But what do you think about rules mechanics? Like, what would you see as a monofaction bonus that would be applicable?
Well, I mean, what they have currently with Music of the Apocalypse of shooting on death is already pretty strong.
Pretty good. Yeah.
So,
if they had a whole range of models that got that for being mono, that'd be pretty nice. Although I don't think if they made them truly like 9th edition level shooting good, you couldn't just give them that for free. Maybe it goes off on a 3+ or a 4+, because just having them all shoot back all the time, if they're as good as other shooting units, could you imagine like Skitarii Rangers just automatically shooting on death?
Okay.
It's the worst thing I've ever heard.
If they have access to anything like Obliterators or shooty demon engines and they're shooting on death, geez.
Toxic. Absolutely revolting.
No, let's not have that. I also think they should have some of the most effective cultists in the game, because they should have Hedonites.
Yep, I'd love them to have always strikes first, to be just that's what you get as like you're revolting and resilient. You just have always strikes first. You always get it. I do like them to have like a monofaction shooting buff. I think that'd be really cool, or something to make it more dynamic. Because in 30k, they're known as the dynamic army. But like the really well maneuvering, really well thought out, methodical kind of tacticians.
I think they need to lean in more into the sonic weapons as well. I think we need to see something particularly special about sonic weapons, because just like a bolter that ignores cover is not really enough. I
expect, the thing that they'll get to like add to upgrade your units or upgrade your characters will be like upgrading Noise Marines with extra sonic stuff. Like spend some points and every one of your Noise Marines gets a sonic weapon. Spend some points, 2 points more a model, everyone gets a sonic blaster or a sonic whatever. All that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's definitely possible. I think they could get their own Terminator unit, because it seems like all of the specific Chaos Space Marine armies are getting their own Terminator unit.
Do you know what would be cool? It would be cool if Emperor's Children got to place more than 50% of their army in reserve if they're a monofaction.
Is that kind of... that's sort of more of a Alpha Legion thing going on there.
No, that's actually their 30k. That's their 30k rules. And I just thought of it. What are their 30k rules? Anyway, let's go back onto the games.
Let's go.
Enough Emperor's Children love.
Yeah, let's go back to table 3, because there's stuff that happened in there. Oh no, let's go back to table 2. Sorry, we're being told table 2 is where we should be right now.
Where we need to be. So those Terminators are gone. It's just the
Uh,
characters
uh,
left, and
uh,
they are wrapped up.
okay. So,
Okay, rough.
okay. Okay. Here's what I see. If the remaining Terminators don't clear everything that's here, then everything that's on that bottom objective literally then just rinses and repeats on that unit of
Exactly
Terminators.
right. Exactly right. So you're in this dichotomy now where that middle unit of Terminators has to fight Sean's entire army and do an amazing job in order to make a game of this. Mind you, still got 3 Blade Guard over on the left that can absolutely make an impact. If they can go in, pick up like whatever the most deadly thing is, like maybe it's the Incubi, like they could easily get or neuter a couple of units if they want to spread themselves out. But the shooting is he's not going to get any shooting because all those units are going to be wrapped and trapped off those models. Because I'm assuming he didn't declare a charge on the apothecary because I don't think he could have. It was completely walled off. So he's just going to get to pivot his whole army being trapped off that one model, and that's kind of dumb. Now, what that means to me is that middle unit of Terminators has to charge in there and has to dodge that Archon. That five-sliced Archon, you cannot let it get engagement range of you. Otherwise, you are just giving them your Terminators in your turn.
Now, what is the base leadership of a Terminator, specifically a Deathwing Terminator? Because as well, we have Incubi that can also inflict fight last. So, what is their leadership? Are they a leadership 8 like most like high-end Space Marines?
On the Incubi?
No, are the Deathwing Terminators who they have to roll the leadership against? What is the leadership of Deathwing Terminators? Is it just 8?
But I can tell you right now, I still have it up. It is 9 on the Sarge.
Okay, so they do actually have 9, so that's actually very hard for the Incubi to inflict fight last on them. So yeah, it's all going to come down to that fight last Archon. But honestly, I think the only real chance that the Dark Angels has to get back in the game, they need a hot turn where all their shooting here and here clears the center.
Yeah,
and
exactly
then this
right.
unit immediately charges and starts swamping all the stuff down there.
Yeah, but exactly right. Between the Terminators and the Blade Guard, they need to pick up half of what's there. All the shooting, absolutely right, needs to go into the middle. I'm hoping those Venoms are empty, because if those Venoms have stuff in it, then you're not doing much of anything.
It looks like this one might have a unit inside, but
yeah.
at least these 2 are empty.
Yeah, I assume there's three empty and one still got maybe a character.
Well, the
maybe
thing is that there are still 2 Venoms down here that are probably empty too. So, like, what still has stuff? I hope a bro behind the scene can tell us what Venoms in the center actually still have units inside them. Because that's important. Because if he ends up shooting the Venoms and destroying them, the units that are OPSEC just spill out onto that objective.
We're seeing a measure right now from the Terminators in the top left. It looks like they are just, they might be 13 or just under 13 inches away from that Venom, the green Venom, the most central top one. So that means, what would that mean? That would mean on a 5-inch move, they've got an 8-inch charge or a 7-inch charge, depending if they're above or below the 13-inch point. Which isn't too bad. You'd go for that. In this point of the game, you'd be like, well, I'm betting on this 7. I need it. I need it to happen right now. I mean,
that's an 8-inch charge even is only 1 above the average dice roll. So that's not like unreasonable. Right. I mean, that's why the beauty of the 9-inch from reserve is so valuable, because it puts it right on that teetering edge of being too much.
Exactly right. Now, the reason I dislike the scouring is it's just so brutal. It's usually like one person gets a middling score around a 60 and 70, and the other person gets donuts, gets like 20 points. As that's why I thought it was really important that if Joel didn't want to risk it, just run the hell away. Just be like, hey, Sean is likely to just sit here, score a crap load of points. I'm going to get the hell away from him, let him have his points, and try and get some of mine. He can max score this game sitting exactly where Sean is sitting. He can nearly max score this game.
Exactly. Now I have
very little.
Sorry, I have just learned that only one of these Venoms has a single Trueborn unit in it, and that's it. So most of them are empty, which means almost all of Sean's units are committed down to this bottom objective. So if he manages to clear most of what's in the center there and shooting, and then starts to go towards the bottom objective, like he may not win, but he could inflict enough damage on Sean to make his score lower and make his own score higher.
Well, some further things to consider. Yeah, the Terminator unit that got eaten, that just got completely dissolved, had 6 up feel no pain. Yeah, and now the one in the middle has the -1 damage. I'm interested to see if Sean does just double up and go to take that whole brick of like 9 or 10 squads and chuck it into that other one. Is that one easier or harder to kill than the one he just killed?
Okay, well, an interesting thing as well is that if the Terminators coming down south towards this unit if they manage to kill enough in the way, the Apothecary is still alive, which means they could technically consolidate into the Apothecary's 6-up Feel No Pain range, and then any interrupts that Sean's going to do against the Terminators is suddenly not as effective. So
That's cute. Definitely the charge from the Blade Guard can make it into range, 100%.
oh yeah, absolutely. And I think there's only really like legitimately maybe 2 inches of screen in the way of them getting the Terminators getting into range of the Apothecary. And if it's just like 2 small units of things, I mean the Terminators, as long as they're not fighting last, they'll just go right through whatever's in the way. So
yeah, spot on. I mean, this is a matchup where I really would love to see a couple of lightning claws, but he's teched so heavily. Well, it's only for this specific situation because you've got storm bolters that usually account for things like witches very, very well. But the issue is he doesn't get to use them because all the witches and Bloodbriars are stuck in combat, so you can't shoot them. So you really just it would be just so lovely to have some 5 attack Termies going in there,
absolutely
just taking chunks out. The Blade Guard is still. Looking back in hindsight, they seem to be the one element of this army that hasn't got enough value for the investment yet.
Yeah, it's weird.
I would have sent them into the middle first, to be honest.
Yeah, to be a throwaway, to essentially force Sean to commit more assets to the center objective. I 100% agree. I think that's assuming that he doesn't. Assuming that he doesn't go the way that we designed to go that way, and he still had his same plan, then I think, yes, the Blade Guard should have been up front and just going into that center objective.
If you have a brick of Blade Guard with -1 damage, 6 of them, and that you just rush them into the middle of the table turn 1 to get on that middle objective, Sean still has to put a legitimate amount of effort into killing them. They're not easy to kill.
His shooting will do nothing.
Nothing, literally nothing.
Nothing. To that, they're all 2+ saves. They're all 4+ symbols. So there's just nothing that they will do. So he would have to commit combat units to take the center objective. And I think they would have enough of a footprint that he would maybe get 4 to 5 OBSEC models onto the point.
Yeah, exactly right. But we're dealing with ifs and buts here, of course. We're talking about if this, then that, whatever. Whereas the game as it sits right now, it's a very interesting one. It's the first time in a long time that I've seen someone do a mass wrap in 9th edition. You rarely see it where someone pivots and puts like 1,000 damn points of their army, like trapping 1 or 2 guys. I would love to know what that last unit is. I can see the Apothecary, but directly left of it, I can see another bone-colored model. I'd love to know if that's a Termi. It looks like it's got a Storm Shield, so I'm assuming there's 1 Termi left of that. And the other thing I'd love to know where Lazarus is.
There could be as many as 2 characters there. Would that be the Blade Guard Ancient? It could be the Blade Guard Ancient.
No, Blade Guard Ancient is sitting in the middle of the.
Could be Ezekiel.
Yeah, it could be Ezekiel. Yep. I think the Blade Guard Ancient is sitting squarely in the middle of the middle block. You can see the back of him right now. He's in the middle block of Terminators. At least that's where I assumed he was.
So it is okay. So we have just been given the word that this model, the only one left, is just another Terminator. It's the last remnant from that squad.
Yeah, I thought I could see that. He's sending out. It looks like Ezekiel's being sent out now. The guy with the cape, the lib, he's just been sent out into the middle of the table. You can see it just left of that central crate. I would love to know which one of the players placed that crate, because it's just such an annoying piece of crap to have on your middle objective.
What is? I don't know what that's supposed to be exactly. What's the effect of this? Is it just like we don't want to place a video or place a piece of terrain, so we'll just place this thing? So unfortunately, we lost Adam for a second there. We might try to get him back. Let us know if you can see or hear him. I'll just keep going. So yeah, we have obviously no idea what this crate in the center is supposed to be. Clearly, that was kind of just a meme moment during the game. Yeah, so it looks like the Dark Angel player, our own Joel Wilson with his crazy Dark Angels, placed that piece of terrain. It was probably the last piece of terrain to place, because remember, our players do place the terrain. And at that point, he just wanted it to be the least effective possible in the center of the field. Now, again, this seems like he knew that he was supposed to take somewhere around this area. Now, I think he maybe didn't think he had the movement necessary to get to this objective. It's definitely possible that that was not part of his plan. But he was spread out enough that, and he saw that Nadine had the capability to deploy so much of his forces behind this objective that it was unclear whether or not that he really planned for Nadine to suddenly bomb and swamp all of his forces. Now, if we can we move to table 3, please? So on table 3, we see, unfortunately, it looks like most of the buggies are gone from the game, which means the footprint that the freebooters need in order to try and keep the Skitarii at bay is basically gone. Now, a lot of the Skitarii infantry have suffered casualties, but all 3 of the Stratoraptors are still alive, which means that they're just going to be picking off buggies every turn. We see there another one has gone. And it looks like this
Hello, I think I'm back.
it looks like the Wartrike went for the center objective instead of going up to this top left objective, which, as long as one Skitarii is still there, I'm assuming there is a banner there, which the plane cannot take away. That's important for you in the chat to know that the plane it can never score any objectives for primary, including removing banners. So that's important.
Just had a little glitch in the matrix there.
And yeah. So we're still having some problems with Adam, so we're trying to get that sorted out right now. We're sorry,
Drop me
guys.
for a moment. Yeah.
So it looks like even more buggies were just removed from the back scene. So we may have as many as only 2 or even 1 buggy remaining. I don't know if there are still any in reserves, and that would be essentially lights out for the Orks. Because as far as the score is currently, they haven't scored very much of anything in primary, and the secondaries are seriously struggling. So the Cult Mechanicus are clearly showing a dominating lead. Let's go back to table 1 and see how the Tyranids and Demons are doing.
I'm seeing everything pretty crystal clear. No issues on my end.
So we'll get to table 1 in a second, everybody. We're struggling. There are some technical difficulties that seem to persist with the venue itself and with everyone else. So table 1, okay, as we can see, Be'lakor is free. Ooh. The Lord of Change is free. There's only 1 Hierodule remaining. It looks like a huge blob of Tyranids has appeared in the backfield. That's Devil Gaunts back there with a Lictor sort of tucked in the middle there. That's really good, because essentially they have the firepower, even without the new supplement, to basically remove any remaining troop units that the Demons have in the backfield to hold objectives. They'll just get rid of everything.
Yeah. Pick up all his board presence, get it out of here. Never heard of it. Interesting to note that single fiend is still in combat. I wouldn't have been surprised if we saw the Hive Guard fall back and then the Warriors go in and pick up that fiend. But as it sits right now, yeah, it doesn't look like that's his plan, unless we're still in the movement phase.
Yeah, I wonder if he's wondering the value of even getting the Hive Guard out of combat. Obviously, if they have shooting, but like, what do they have left to shoot at other than maybe the Keeper of Secrets? I mean, they're not going to shoot at Be'lakor or the Lord of Change. That's really just like some maybe damage. I think going for this to the last is probably their only real viable target, because I mean the Devil Gaunts at this point, we can see there's no Demons troops left in the back of the field. There's 1 Beast of Nurgle right here. The other Beast of Nurgle is dead. So at that point, this unit just like will prevent anything. And honestly, they have enough firepower. They could get through the the Keeper of Secrets eventually, or at least just swamp it.
Right.
How many attacks does the Keeper of Secrets has in combat?
I think it has a total of 8 or 9. I think it has 6 pincer attacks and then 3 sword attacks, or Withstealer sword attacks, or is it 4 Withstealer sword attacks?
It would take
a bunch.
So that amount of Gaunts, though, could essentially roadblock it for at least 2 combats.
Oh, rest of the game. It's turn 4. Rest of the game. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely rest of the game.
Yeah, so that's bad. That's bad in every respect for the Demons.
Exactly right. So it looks like it's actually pretty in a pretty nice stalemate position. Like we've got, a Hierodule and the Hive Guard left, 2 alpha units for the Nids, kind of juxtapositioned to the Keeper, the Lock and Be'lakor. So it's actually all up in the air. What's the call of the primary so far? A donut for Tyler. I'm not sure that could be, if it's turn 4 and he's on 0 primary. Wow, because we're just going into the Demons went first, yeah.
This
one?
Oh wow!
So this will be the top of 4. Sorry.
Okay, so the only chance that the forces of the Hive Mind have is to get in the probably the last turn since they went second is to get on 3 objectives and get 15. Yeah. That's basically it. Knight
of the Fallen, just to confirm, 10 attacks, 6 with the sword, 4 with the claws. So other way around. I said 6 with the claws.
Okay, so even with 10 attacks, it's still more than 1 combat to get through that many Gaunts.
She's going to miss with 1. She's going to fail to wound with 1. She's probably going to kill 8 a turn. Which 30 Gaunts, that's a long time.
Yeah. Now, interestingly enough, as we can see, even though that Tyler with the Tyranids or the forces of the Hive Mind hasn't scored any primary yet, he is going second, so he can still nab 15 at the end of the game. But more importantly, he's seriously going to be ahead on
Mm,
secondaries. I mean, we haven't had any Warp Ritual, it seems, from the
yeah,
demons,
and the demons.
which
It seems weird, man.
well, it looks like he's moved one Keeper of Secrets, but like I mean, if he's putting one of his remaining psychers into the center of the board to try and get Warp Ritual, I would assume it would be one of the little Herald, the Nurgle
Yeah,
Herald, to
yeah.
try and do
Well,
it.
that's why I thought him and the lock are the reason they're in the list, are they?
Yeah, well, I wonder almost if the entire time, because remember we've had warriors down here the whole time. I wonder if all of the psychers in the center have been in Shadows in the Warp, and then because they're
Ah,
Chronos, he keeps
apologies.
throwing the one
Sorry,
dice cast on them for Warp Ritual.
I thought there was something about Warp Ritual. Warp Ritual is only scored at the end of the game. It reads as such: at the end of the battle, score 3 victory points if your ritual tally is 1, score 7 if its tally is 2, or score 12 if your tally is 3 or more. That's if you get into the middle of the table and do this psychic action. Which is Warp Charge 3. So we could have very well done it 2 or 3 times and we haven't noticed, and it's just got 12 points waiting in the wings to be added.
That's possible. I mean, like as we're seeing, I mean, this could be decided by to the last. I do think that Tyler has the capability to get 15 primary in the final turn. He
Yeah.
clearly has the resources remaining and the movement. I mean, this Gaunt unit alone can move. In worst case scenario, 14 inches with a 6-inch move and a 1-inch advance, and then metabolic overdriving for another
Yeah.
6-inch move and
Another
1-inch
6 inch.
advance.
Yeah. Yeah. It could straddle two of the center objectives. Well, the central one and the bottom left, or the central one and the top left.
Oh, also, I just realized if he's taking Warp Ritual and his only Warp Ritual, useful Warp Ritual unit is there, don't the Devil Gaunts essentially just move and blow that guy away and no more
Well, he
Warp
can he
Ritual?
can do it on any psychic unit, so that one of the keepers could do it if everything goes south.
But he's not committing them, is my point. He wants the
Oh
keepers in
yes.
combat. He doesn't
Yeah.
want them in the center doing Warp Ritual, especially
Well,
when they're in range of the whole army.
that seems like why he's got a keeper there. That keeper could easily be going into a hero duel this turn. All those warriors in the bottom right. Instead, is staying there, which what I got to assume is for Warp Ritual, right?
Yeah, now I'm wondering, we need to know how many Warp Rituals he's actually
Yeah.
succeeded, because remember, there are a unit of warriors here who are projecting Shadows of the Warp onto that objective, and
Yes.
his army has Chronos, which means
Apologies.
he could be spending 1 CP to give the Warp Ritual a 1d6 cast with -1 every turn.
I tripped out for a second there because he had 2 keepers back on the table. I'm like, wait a second, has he regrown a keeper? Could you do that when you're playing against Grey Knights or whatnot? But he was just using that one to measure the positioning
Yes.
for his remaining one, which is a very clever play. I think everyone should do that if you can.
Now, but that's the thing. Like, we need to know how many Warp Rituals he's actually gotten, because that's actually an interesting tech, that he could be giving him a 1d6 Warp Ritual with -1 every turn, and he maybe hasn't succeeded in any Warp Rituals, which is a big
Dude.
deal.
That's exactly right. If we could get that table boss to go past and see how many Warp Rituals he's pulled off, that'd be great. Even if he's just done it twice and he's got 7 points there, it'd be
So
phenomenal.
we've just discovered he's succeeded in 0 Warp Rituals, which means that's I think that's a foregone conclusion at this point.
Well, he can still get 2. He can still have 7 points if he does it this turn and in turn 5. But yeah, it remains to be seen. If he doesn't get any, that's a huge, huge issue.
So it looks like in his turn he was able to just succeed with 1. So he has 1 Warp Ritual, so he'll get 2 possibly by the end of the game if he has the Psychers remaining, which I believe you said is 3 points. Is it 4
exactly
points?
right.
3 points or 4 points for the first Warp Ritual?
It is 3 points for the first, and you get 7 if you got 2. If you've done 2.
Okay, so he might be able to get 7 by the end of the game, which that's tricky. That's tricky.
Yeah.
Because I think at the very least Tyler's going to get. I think he's going to get 15 primary in the final turn. I think he's going to get at least. He'll get Stranglehold in the final turn, because that'll be part and parcel with his primary.
Yep.
He could get 1 more Assassinate. I feel it would have to be the Keeper or the Herald in the center, and that's another Assassinate. And that might just be enough with only 15 primary and just a few more extra secondaries to take the lead.
To steal it. Well, so only 5 more points came through for Scott at the start of his turn 4, but admittedly, I don't see how he stopped him from getting another 5. Are those 5 acolytes still there? They came up in turn 2, and he just hasn't killed them in 3 turns. And and Tyler hasn't moved them in 3 turns. I don't understand. That can't be correct.
Well, if you remember, there was a Beast of Nurgle there. I'm wondering if the Beast of Nurgle went in, did nothing, and then got aced by the
But
Acolyte
still,
hybrids.
it makes no sense that he would leave them there. It's actually just boggling my brain. If he has, just even send some Demoness to go and get it. You can't just let him sit there, because that's the way he gets a 15. He metabolic overdrives the Devil Gaunts to the bottom left, and then the Warriors don't die. It's a 15, straight up.
So he didn't actually have enough Demonettes left because he committed 10 of them to prevent this objective from getting taken, and he just committed the rest to get that one. So he literally only has the 1 unit of Demonettes remaining in this quarter.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is the Demonettes are better off going and killing that unit there than holding the one they are there.
Yes.
They're sitting on cannot be taken by any units in the Tyranid army next turn. They can't get there. So, but taking him off 1 will take him from a 15 to a 10 on the final turn.
Oh, but are we thinking that maybe as Scott is thinking he has a chance to deny him a 15 primary if he's holding this? Because remember, if he did commit them this way, then the Devil Gaunts just clear them off entirely, and he has neither of those objectives.
Well, the thing is, the Devil Gaunts have to metabolic overdrive. Devil Gaunts aren't shooting, mate. If he wants to get a 15, they can't shoot. They need a double move.
That's true. Or he could just double move the Lictor that's hiding in there.
That's true as well. Yeah, you forget about the Lictor. And guess what? I bet you he rolls a 1.
Lictor. He's got a little cheeky Lictor.
Rolls a 1, and the guy kills himself. He metabolic overdrives and just explodes.
But I mean, okay, so the
Haggle Slag, Warp Ritual, more like Derp Ritual. Got to agree.
So we've just gotten word. If we could cut to table 3 real quick, the Orc player only has 2 jets left. And it looked like he was down to 1 or maybe 2 of his buggies, which I think at that point that's lights out.
Well, man, it's just been so insane to see how well the AdMech has accounted for what a lot of people assume is the big baddie in the meta. And it's only the big baddie because it's just so hard to account for it. It's just you can just on a drop of a hat just lose immediately to freebooters. And yet the freebooters went first here, didn't they?
They did.
And they're getting absolutely bodied.
Okay,
it's really weird.
I'm wondering if it was what
still.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it was what I expected, which was he essentially couldn't have enough on the board because he couldn't have his planes at all. They were all in reserve. So him going first is actually bad because 1, he doesn't have enough units to toggle freebooters, and 2, the AdMech player could just pick cover, which he knows is going to be bad for his army, and there's no effectiveness turn 1, whereas the AdMech has full effectiveness turn 1.
I would like to also point out something about the scouring. You actually start further away from each other than usual. You actually start 28 inches away from each other. So there's actually some propensity that if you start, it'd be 10 inches back from your deployment line, you can be out of range of the squig buggies turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, well, the interesting thing, though, is that he essentially has to reserve enough units with his army just because of the footprint of the deployment zone that if he keeps the squig buggers on the board, don't they just die to the planes, AdMech planes turn 1? Like, is there any way to prevent that from happening?
I don't know, man. I think Colin did the best he could and put as much as he could into reserve, and I think he made all the right calls. It just didn't matter, man. It just did not matter. It's actually kind of terrifying.
Well, I'm surprised that there was just enough of a footprint with the deployment zone here that the AdMech didn't actually have to reserve anything. That's a little surprising.
Yeah, with how many sheer density of models, how many units, how many everything. Running down the score though, there's not a huge gap between them to be honest. Picking up a 12 on Octarius data for Colin is actually a huge deal, and well done to him. That's a big win. Primary sitting at 15 for Mr. Estrada, 6 on Stranglehold, 6 on Bring It Down, 4 on Raise the Banners, and then Stranglehold and 10 on the primary for Colin, with 3 on Stranglehold, 0 on No Prisoners, which is huge freaking yikes for one of the killiest armies in the game, and 12 on Retrieve Octarius data, or praise be to the mighty Rod.
Yeah, I mean, I would see the other severe problem that we're seeing here is that we know Cult Mechanicus went second, and the fact that they have all of the assets remaining, which means that in that final turn when he scores, like, that's an easy 15, I feel. So I think the primaries right now are a little bit skewed because they're likely heavily in favor of the AdMech.
Well, the 10 that Colin has on primary right now could very well be the only 10 he gets. He might get donuts for the rest of the game, for all we know. In the chat, couple of people I want to shout out. Night of the Fallen still participating and chucking up comments and questions. Thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate you staying with us for this duration. Matthew Heather, Cup of Dice goes burr. Absolutely agree, mate. TV Haggleslag, why is the scouring being used? It's such a terrible mission. Well, because Frontline Gaming is committed to playing the mission pack front to back.
Okay.
They started mission 1, and they're just going to go all the way through.
I think you and I agree though that the reason the scouring is effective is because of exactly how it's limiting these power play armies.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I think this is why it's necessary. Is you need it to be a stopgap against the armies that are essentially taking the best and well, in the case of the Orks, the most footprinted army in the game. Because we saw in most of the freebooted games by turn 2, they were so overwhelming because their footprint is so big that they were everywhere. And there is nothing you could do about it. Whereas the scouring at least forces them to keep some of the units off the board. Now, we've just learned that on table 2, the reason he thrust Ezekiel into the center here is because we may have missed the Dark Angels has Warp Ritual.
Warp Ritual, yeah. Yep.
And there's no way for the Drukhari to stop that.
Stop him. Can't stop him. Does Warp Ritual need to be gone off when there's no one else in their deployment zone? Like there's no one else on the objective?
No, it's just that you do the objective and you don't get denied.
That's so good. This is This is where you take it. You take it when he has no ability to stop you. You don't take it against the Nids who have 3 abilities to stop you.
Yes. I feel like the fact that he could move his warriors behind that wall and have an 18-inch Shadows in the Warp and Chronos only 1 pass.
And he has denies in addition from the Neurothropes. Yeah, it's just like a three-tiered nope.
That's
as we're seeing going in here, in the melee phase, looks like we're seeing a bunch of models being picked up from Sean's side of things. The unit of Cavalry Warriors in the middle has been picked up either by most likely by shooting from the Terminators. And enough like this, there's 2 Terminators on the objective, and because they picked up the OBSEC, they will control that objective from Sean. Meaning Sean is most likely only getting a 5. No, he'll get a 10. No, he'll get a 15. He's holding the top right. As long as he maintains enough models on the bottom left, which he is very likely to do, he'll get a 15 the start of his turn.
It's questionable because we're looking now to see that most of the units that were at least even trapping the apothecary that's sitting here, if the apothecary is able to escape from that, he's going to start shifting that in his favor just with the resurrects every turn. I'm wondering if this Terminator unit if they can kill 2 or 3 units in combat, that's a big deal.
Surely that apothecary doesn't make it out of there alive, right? He's going to have like 2 or 3 units swinging into him, possibly a bunch of characters. The Blade Guard have gone in. They've already swung. Looks like they've picked up a unit themselves. And I'd say at least another unit, maybe a unit and a character, or 2 units and a character got picked up by the Terminators. So nice pound of flesh Joel is taking from Sean. Let's see if it's enough, though. Well, it's still going to be a 15, I think. It looks like he's still got like 20 models on that objective, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, but essentially OBSEC means nothing, and as long as the Terminators can get there even in 1 more turn, then that essentially means that Sean has no assets left other than Venoms. And Venoms aren't going to do anything against all these OBSEC Terminators.
Well, I still don't think enough of Sean's stuff's dead. He's still got, like, we can still see Incubi at the back of that blob. He's still probably got a bunch of characters. I'm praying that he killed the Fight's last guy. If he did have to go into him, I'm hoping at least he killed the bastard.
Well, the question is was the Archon, like, accessible at all? Because there was a giant blob of infantry, and if Sean was anyway on his normal game, he would have been like, I'm going to bury this guy in the center and make sure he's just in a 3-inch wall of all of these infantry units. So I would doubt that he could get to the Archon himself, but the thing is if he does enough damage to everything else, does the Fight's last even matter?
Exactly right. So a fun little interaction just happened there, guys, if you may have missed it. The Dark Angels player went to consolidate his Terminator brick in the middle after he killed the Venom, and I think he moved it, and then he moved it back, and after, I think Sean pointed out that, like, don't do that, dude. You're going to be out of coherency. In fact, he told him, look, that guy's out of coherency now, to put him back in, move him back.
Yes.
And so, yeah, good job, good sportsmanship there, if I read that correctly.
Yeah, because remember, again, these are 10-man Terminator blocks, which means every guy has to be in 2-inch range to at least 2 other models. And it's hard to stretch out, even with the proximity of these 2 objectives. That's a hard thing to maintain. Now, granted, I love this straddling because it keeps them in the game shooting. They don't need to combat anymore. And as long as they're straddling those objectives, they are OBSEC and holding that for the rest of the game.
Some shout-outs in the chat. Thank you so much for the support, guys. Murphy Stanley, Captain Athos, Detective P.E. Jones, Harry P., Perseus 33388. Thank you so much for your support, guys. Love you all. Duke Nukem, 404, you guys are freaking fantastic. We love all your support. Thank you so much for joining in, chatting with each other, keeping this content rolling. You guys make what we do better. So please stay invested, stay connected, and appreciate everything you guys do. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Let's make this as big as best as we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for joining
Hooey.
us and sticking with us, even with all of the interruptions that we've been having. I mean, we're still having a blast here.
Absolutely.
Okay, I've got to say something here. I think the Dark Angels could actually pull this back. I think if Sean loses enough units here, then essentially he won't be able to get any primary for the rest of the game, and they're still early in.
And it's giving us hope. Got to give us hope. Looks like that. If that apothecary survives, wow, that'd be a really big boon to Sean.
I mean, all rerolls
we'll
go to the apothecary. Keep him alive at all costs.
He is still piling in. He's still got a bunch of activations. Most likely, there's just so many instances of fighting in that ball. So we've got a piling in. Looks to be a single model. No, it's been backed up by a couple more. A couple units piling into those blade guard in the bottom left. Let's see what the washout is. We could probably bounce back to this in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
If you want to go check on the Demons game, I'd really love to see, because that one was very much in the balance.
Yeah, let's go back to table 1.
Back to table 1. This is still on turn 2. Get Sean, Joel, on your black, boys. Come on, chop chop.
They technically only have 35 minutes left in the round, so they have to get the ball rolling.
Get the ball rolling.
So as we've pointed out, it looks like all that's left in the Tyranids army is the Hive Guard in the back with the warriors, and then the giant blob of Termagants with the lector you can see at the top at the screen. But honestly, that might be enough.
The scores are so close, man. Well, Scott's pulling ahead on the fact that he's still got 15 in the bank for to the last. He's strangleholded every turn. His Warp Ritual has finally gleaned some points, hilariously. So Tyler needs this 15. He needs this 15 like a drowning man needs a life jacket.
Yeah, I mean, actually, there's something I missed as well. A major problem for the Tyranids player. You'll notice what this is right there.
Yep.
There's a giant forest blocking his access to the central objective, which inflicts a -2 movement on any unit that's trying to go through there. That I don't know if he can even reach that objective with Metabolic Overdrive, actually. So that might prevent him from getting the 15 primary that he needs.
Spot on. In the chat, Harry P. I still remember an Ascension tournament where I played your Imperial Guard and Dark Angels character Soup that held out against my Nids in GSC back when Acolytes was still good. Man, I remember that. That was my Talon Master sitting behind my Bulgrin brick. Man, that was a time to be alive. Thank you so much for that game. I still remember it fondly. I remember deep striking unit of Scions to get engaged in all fronts and to block off one of your double moves. I think that was literally the difference in the game.
Hold on, I have an object here. Acolytes are still amazing. They may not be as hyper efficient, but
and they're not killing machines like they used to be, where they can literally kill anything.
I mean, a unit. Everybody forgets that they have multiple weapons beyond the saws, and the rock cutters can go through any multi-wound unit in the game. If you don't know how the rock cutters function, after they deal damage to a model. If they roll a dice above the remaining wounds of that model, it just dies instantly. Which means, oh, that's a nice custodian model with 4 wounds. I dealt 2 wounds to you. Yeah. Oh, I rolled a 3. It's dead.
Think about the applications of things like Kronos and Talos and all that stuff.
Oh my God.
They're actually phenomenal units. I think they're quite good. The only issue is, literally anything in the game kills them. Like, just farts in a general direction, they all fall over.
They have to kill so much in an all-in that there's no reprisal. Otherwise, they just fold to a stiff wind.
So this is what I thought I'd see a turn earlier. As soon as the Fiends went into the Hive Guard, he's just accepted that Fiend is just going to be shutting down his Hive Guard. I thought he'd fall back the Hive Guard, use the Warriors to pick them up, and he still get maybe 1, maybe 2 units of shooting out of the Hive Guard. But no, he's just accepting that. Those Warriors are moving out. They're going to go for the top right objective next turn, move out another 6 on turn 5, charge into the Demonettes, and in all likelihood, they probably win that fight and take that off.
Yeah, I mean, and we're seeing here...
They need to kill 7 of them. They need to kill 7 of them to win that objective, though.
They do.
Out of a 10-man. So that could be a little bit awkward.
Also, we're noticing here the major roadblock to the Termagants. That forest is a big problem.
Hello, Forest, my old friend. You've come to new to me again. Yes. Absolutely brutal.
Yes. Forest is one of those pieces of terrain that is quite contentious. Many people are not sure why they're so punishing to basically everything. -1 to shoot through a forest, -2 movement, Why?
Yes. Yes.
Why?
Everything that you thought this Devil Gaunt could do has just been cut in half by this one forest.
I don't get it.
So good.
They're so rude.
It is. It's rough. I love them. I love that they're in the game, though. We need them. We need them so
Clearly,
much.
as we can see by the permanent zoom in, MVP right here
MVP.
of all of 40K forests. How dare you?
Forest. The only thing that's worse than a forest is a crater, because you look at a crater and you're like, this shouldn't slow me down. At least this thing is supposed to be like, suspend disbelief. This could be a heavily wooded thicket that is slow me down. But see this crater? I'm a superhuman soldier. If I can't run through a crater, what the hell can I do?
They're deep. They've got water in them, maybe. But honestly, I disagree with you. You know what's worse than a forest? We saw it in the Dark Angels game versus the Freebooters game. What's worse than a forest? Two forests.
Two forests. That's right. That's right. I hate it so much.
When you have two forests that literally can envelop two entire Terminator blocks, like, oh my god, that poor Freebooters player must have been like, I don't know. Okay, I'm defeated by the board, not by your army. Great.
Exactly right. As it sits right now, Scott is sitting pretty comfortably ahead in this game. 15 to the last, only 3 on Warp Ritual, but 12 on... 12, I was on Stranglehold, so 15, so 30, plus his 10 for primary. So he's sitting on 50 points right now total. That's if he doesn't score anything else. He's likely to get either another Stranglehold or possibly another Warp Rift, which is very likely which will add another 4 points.
One thing
so he could possibly ending 57 if he gets any more primary, possibly 67 being the absolute upper echelons, I think.
Well, that's one thing that's interesting with all 3 of these games we're seeing at the top tables is that all 3 of them are scoring very low. I don't think there's anyone that's going to be scoring even close to an 80, to be honest.
Yeah. An 80, you wiped your opponent, and they didn't have much. They didn't have much say in it.
Okay, yeah, we did see there that Sean did manage to get 20 or 15 on primary that turn.
Yeah, he got 15 on primary. He killed the Apothecary. He killed the last of those Terminators, and he killed 2 of the Blade Guard. In addition, that's a lot of killing power when you've been charged by your opponent.
That's definitely not what the Dark Angels player wanted to see. He didn't want to have that many losses with only maybe killing. It looks like he killed 3 of the Drukhari units, and that's just not enough. Can we get
a look at the Drukhari kill count? Can we get a look at their dead pile? I'd be love to see. I want to see how many Incubi units and possibly how many characters are dead. That'd be fantastic. If we can't get it, yeah, whatever. It's fine. Now, our man's on it.
I'm gonna guess right now. I think this unit right here. I think that's Incubi. So I think there's at least 1 Incubi unit left. Because logistically, what would kill the Blade Guard would be a unit of Incubi.
Exactly right. The only ones that would kill it would be the Blood Brides, the Incubi, or a character. Pretty much. All I mean,
the character maybe. I'm just saying with the footprint that was available, how many models could actually fight? It was probably just the Incubi. I don't think the Blood Brides was enough.
That's his dead pile. It only looks like he's lost witches and warriors. From what I can see there. Of course,
we can't see Venoms. What's behind here.
Down there.
Necrons. He's got Necrons in his army now.
Mate, his whole Necron force has been totally wiped out. Like, I didn't even see them. Those Dark Angels must have nuked them from orbit, like, round 1, because they didn't even make it on the board.
And it looks like his play towards the center. Sean is just going to put just enough models to essentially take the center objective from the Terminators.
If he gives his opponent another donut, the game's over. The game's not even possibly contested. And that's just disgusting that Sean has lost probably 10 units, somewhere between 8 and 10 units, and it just doesn't even touch the sides because he's got 20 units. Doesn't matter.
I mean, and as you were saying, I think the only reason that it would really give him just a straight loss is honestly they only have 28 minutes left in the round. I don't think there's just going to be enough time left for Joel with his Dark Angels to essentially just accomplish enough within that time frame.
I would love to know how much time is on each clock, because I'd assume Joel's got 4 units in his army, mate. He's got very little to do every turn. So if he's used more time than his opponent, I'd be scratching my head on that. Yeah, I don't think so though. Surely Sean's used more.
Yeah, so if our man behind the scenes could give us an idea of the clock for the for table 2, that would be excellent.
Oh, tea. Bring me back to life.
Yeah, I need some water here. Got to keep our voices in check. We're going into a day 3 tomorrow, so.
Yeah, exactly right. Having a bit of a discussion in the chat. I'm not quite following it because unfortunately, Restream, you only get what you can get. You can't scroll down and see where this stuff started.
Give me the gist.
Oh, nice. Captain Mzungu, forgive me for going a bit off topic, but Andrew, given your appearance here this weekend, is there any chance we'll see/hear more from you on the Frontline Gaming Network podcast? I mean, now that you've got spare time, ... haha.
Well, that might be a person that's familiar with the unfortunate events with our show that we released on Friday, that our podcast will no longer be continuing. But I mean, a lot of that comes down to Val and whether or not I still like him by the end of this, which it's looking like maybe.
You are more than welcome on any show that I produce anytime, my brother.
Well, that's a deal breaker right there. I can't have Adam. I mean, there's no more.
That'd be saucy.
Just real quick, Adam. You wanted an update on clock. The Dark Angels unfortunately only has 11 minutes left, whereas the Drukhari has 19.
There you go.
I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's enough.
So wait a second. You released a podcast on Friday stating you weren't going to be making that podcast anymore, and then come Friday, that Saturday, you're doing this. Did you move on to greener pastures? What?
Okay, I know it can look bad.
To me.
It can look.
It looks bad, mate. Just put it out there.
Okay, chat. I'm gonna lay some knowledge on you. Unfortunately, with our podcast, we've been running our podcast for 5 years, and it just came down to a scheduling conflict that we essentially it was too hard to schedule the show anymore, and that's why we made the announcement. It was always going to be on Friday. Remember anybody that bared with us here on chat. I was going to be playing in this tournament until Val usurped me to serve on stream, probably for the greater good. I mean, we know who is the real host and caster here.
Could you imagine if I was doing this solo? No one would be watching by now. You guys would. I would have burnt your brains out with just a sheer amount of volume of syllables. Just be like, oh.
I'm gonna sling some shade. You could certainly talk enough for the whole stream by yourself.
Oh. That's correct.
Oh.
Shabam.
Got him.
Take it. Got him. Yeah, this is yeah. But no, dude, you've been an absolute legend. I really appreciate you coming on. And dude, dude. So three gentlemen at this event dropped from playing to support this stream. That is Dumeki and Magic Cup Use Fly, or Mr. Castro from the Dice. Matt Castro, rather, from the Dice Check crew, and also from Chapter Tactics, and also our man here, the Elephant Dickinger. So they've all dropped in order to support this stream. Wonderful gentlemen, love you and thank you for the work. Please give them some props in the crowd. I mean, I could never come to this event. I was just always going to be doing this, but these gentlemen actually gave up something to be here.
What?
So
you don't want to fly from Australia during the remnants of a pandemic to come to this event? How dare you? How dare you, sir?
Man, I actually would have if I could have. I'm not allowed to. They won't let me. They won't let me leave.
No, it's not anyone else in Australia. Just specifically you.
Specifically me. Yeah.
Adam, you can't leave. Like, what about anybody else? No, they can leave. Just not you.
They're fine. That's fine. Did we get a time on how much time these gentlemen got left on their clocks, or did I miss that?
We have 23 minutes left in the round, but as far as this game was concerned, I don't think the Dark Angels player clearly had enough to just make a comeback, so clearly he's just going to be scoring as many points as possible. As we said, this is essentially can be, depending on how high he scores, his token loss, since he's done well.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, in ITC, as soon as you hit 5 points, it's been FAQ'd recently, it used to be 10, but as soon as you hit 5 points, you essentially cannot play your turn any longer.
Oh, you mean 5 minutes? As soon as your clock is 5 minutes or under?
5 minutes.
Something that WTC enacted quite a while ago. If you get under a certain amount of time left, it's deemed to be enough that you cannot have enough time to start a new round. So you take the score as it was at the end of the most recent battle round.
Yes, exactly.
Entirely completed battle round. Did we get a wrap up on the McDade game?
Yeah, can we pop over to table 3 real quick?
I think it was at table 3.
Table 3 real quick. Let's take a look at table 3.
Apologies. I think the table bosses are sussing it out. We'll get a pivot there. If there's anything to see.
Yeah, so it looks like maybe they're talking out the rest of the game. I mean, clearly by the last time we checked, almost all, if not all of the buggies were gone. There's only 2 planes remaining, which can't do the mission anymore. So, and they simply 2 models, maybe procking freebooters is just not enough to volume to get rid of that many Skatari.
There we go. Final scores coming through 82 to 50 for the AdMech. So Colin McDade going down. 50 points on a loss, on a dominant loss in the scouring. 50 points might be enough to see him through. He's a very high scoring gentleman with a 5-1 record now.
Well,
so we'll see if that's enough to scrape through to the final
gloriously, I was proven wrong in the moment yet again. He scored an 82. I didn't think anybody was going to score above an 80. So love to be wrong constantly.
If anybody was going to, it was going to be AdMech, mate.
With 4 flyers.
He's no problem. All right, in the middle here, we see these acolytes, which have somehow been left unmolested for 3 turns after popping up on turn 2. And now they've walked onto the central objective in order to cause more shenanigans. Bellacor's gone into the bottom right, looking to be trying to push those warriors out in order to take away some primary score there. And this looks to be the top of turn 5. If that's the case, I think Scott got 5 points. He holds the top right and the bottom left, yeah?
That looks to be correct.
No,
I
would love to know.
Because I didn't see it at first. Yes, he still has the bottom left with that single beast of Nurgle that's just holding the wall.
Yeah, exactly right. So as I see it right now, I would love to know how Be'lakor didn't kill 3 warriors.
Okay.
Because he charged them in his turn, and now somehow only killed 1 and 2 fell back.
It looked like he didn't actually get the charge. I don't know if he advanced. He may have just advanced in order to reach the objective and not risk a long bomb charge. So he was just touching the objective to begin with.
He wants to push him off and be like, okay, well, I don't want to risk a 7 or an 8-inch charge. I'm just going to advance onto it, so you have to get off or get intervened into. That makes sense.
Exactly.
That makes
I think
a lot of sense.
I mean, that was almost the exact play that I was calling out with the bottom right if Be'lakor had gone around towards the Hive Guard. But clearly, we forgot about the glorious Fiends, which, wait, it looks like the Fiends have been punched out of combat by Hive Guard.
Oh my god.
I knew it was happening.
Took him 4 combats. But now they're going to be replaced by...
It happened. And that's all that matters.
You called it. Like, watch out, Adam. Those Hive Guard are just going to kick the crap out of that Fiend. And now it's about to be replaced by a Lord of Change. Now, if they kill a Lord of Change, I'll buy you a beer. Or as many beers as you want, actually.
I'm going to tell you right now, one of the craziest games I've seen, Magnus got punched to death by a unit of Hive Guard. Now, granted, Magnus was severely hurt and only had like 3 or 4 wounds left, but he still died to a random Hive Guard unit.
Exactly right. Well, sorry, not exactly right. That's horrific. That's utterly horrific. I mean, if he's only got 1 wound left or something, sure. But if he had 3 or more, that's just not a thing that should occur.
Yeah, I think it was a ridiculous game, but I think the Hive Guard managed to somehow like wound 5 times, and Magnus flubbed 4 saves.
Mate, they're not Hive Guard; they're Hive Gods. Have you seen their new rules in Leviathan? Oh Jesus!
The Hive Mind just suddenly pumps so much biomass into them; they all become Norn Queens just like overnight.
Yeah. Exactly right. It's so fearsome.
Or just eats the acolytes. Them, you know. Who knows?
Acolytes are going to be going into that center objective. Oh, it looks like he's doing what I thought he might do, because he knows now that those Devil Gaunts aren't going to make it. And it's in all likelihood those 3 warriors are going to go into those demonettes. No need to keep them there. Pull them off that objective, get him and take him off, and get that central one back. So then what? You don't need to score any more primary. Your primary scoring is done, but just take away another asset that can be used by Tyler to jump on and get some primary on the bottom of turn 5.
Now, some people may in the chat may be questioning, how did the Acolytes actually make it from that far objective to that central objective? Now, remember, in the supplement, which I believe was for the greater good, they got a stratagem that just gives them advance and charge now. So that's likely how they made that central objective in one go from here to here, because they were pretty far back, and they only moved 6 inches.
And it looks like they didn't do much damage upon impact. Looks like they didn't even kill one of the 2 Nurgling bases that are there. And now those 10 Demonettes are looking to come in there and support. And then, look, he's got a Beast of Nurgle in the bottom left. And if I was him, what I'd be doing, I wouldn't be double moving those Tyranids anymore. I'd be moving 6 inches down as much as you can. And then you shoot and try and clear everything off in the middle. It's an opportunistic, I know.
And then
probably not going to happen.
Here.
And then you charge onto the Beast of Nurgle.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly right.
Now, I'm wondering, okay, so the Lictor did go up into this ruin here. This Lictor has to come up on this objective.
Oh, cool. Awesome. That's beautiful. So he doesn't even need to charge that beast anymore. He can just advance onto it. He doesn't need to kill the stuff in the middle of the table, because by holding that one, and if he just holds the top right, if he just gets the Lictor onto the top left, the Acolytes survive on the middle, but they're not going to. That's right. So he needs a 3rd objective from somewhere.
He needs some.
Wonder where he's going to get it, mate.
I think the only option he has remaining.
Keeper, this is the issue, yeah.
So this is a weird. Okay, this is a weird Hail Mary. but it's possible because he has 2 Tyranid units left over here. If the Keeper goes into the Warriors and kills them, that means the Hive Guard can shoot through the wall and metabolic overdrive onto the objective.
Overdrive themselves onto the objective. But they get then. Oh, they're not going to be able to. They're just being tapped by the lock, dude. They have to fall back. They can't double move.
That's true.
Rough. And then they're going to keep blocking their path out as well. Yeah, I think Scott might have got this tied up at this point. He was able to hold the middle, which is so many fatty units, for a little bit too long. Holding his opponent to a 5 on the primary is crazy good. So crazy good. He did get the second warp ritual, if you'll notice. He got the second one off.
Yes. Now, granted, as well, we're still saying to the last, we're still saying heavy stranglehold. I mean, he's winning, he's dominating in both primary and secondary at this point. So I don't know if there's a path for the Hive Mind to come back and win this.
Yeah, I don't think they can at this point. But it's important that he gets as many points as possible. I'm so sad to see one of our heroes. These two guys are the 2 heroes of the event in my mind so far. The 2 guys, 2 factions with 2 lists that no one would have thought got this far, and then they have to play each other off to knock one each other out from the top 8. Because in all reality, neither of these guys had huge wins. Actually, I shouldn't speak out of turn. I know Tyler didn't have huge wins. I don't know about Scott. Scott had some good wins. Have taken a loss. Yes. Exactly right. We're starting to see the top 8 start to take shape. First and foremost, Matt Estrada. He knocked up an 80.2 win. We saw that against Colin McDade. The AdMech is currently sitting in pole position, number 1, sitting on 538 battle points. Pretty crazy good. And just below him, on more battle points, 555, Junior Athlehi with his Drukhari has pretty much, his loss was an 82-point loss, and it's just 82, 96, 94, 100, 93. He got a 90-point win on the scouring. That is absolutely impressive. And then, oh my god, yeah, yes, exactly right. I mean, we said that before coming in. We said him and Matthew Gaia, especially if either of them got a decent win or coming out of this, they'd probably locked themselves into the top 8. Yes, yes. Yes. Do you know what that means? That means his opponent got like 10 points. Maybe that was for being maybe that's just being painted as well. It's unkind, and unfortunately, that's what happens in the scouring. Apparently, we've lost some audio for Andrew. Apparently, they're only hearing me. Can somebody please confirm that in the chat? Tim's just chimed in and said so. Are you guys only hearing me, or is Andrew coming through nice and clear? Bada 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 boom. All the way around, lost Andrew. You can still hear me. He tells us to bear with him. I'm not a bear. And don't call me Shirley. This is my Naked Gun reference for the stream. I said Naked Gun, damn it. It's from yes, I did. It's a good show as well. It's Airplane. Really? Leslie Nielsen is Canadian. I didn't know that. Val's just dropping the truth bombs on me. Oh, I don't know. Who else are you gonna claim? Hey, who else are you gonna claim? You're gonna claim Celine Dion now or something as well. You wildcats. So only Adam could get that wrong. Naked Gun is a movie, not a show. That's correct. That's correct. It's a good movie. Andrew's sound is present but grisly. Is that what you get from bearing? Is that what you get from bearing with Val? Dum dum. Here all day, baby. Yeah, I can't hear. It's fine. Sounds fine to me. Looks like the lock went into the Hive Guard and picked up 3 of that number. That's probably a best case scenario, realistically. Having 2 left out of combat might be enough to get him that little yeet play onto that upper right objective to cap him that 15. Yeah, exactly right. So Be'lakor is easily accounted for those 2 warriors in the bottom right. Is there still a barbed hero jewel alive in the bottom right as well? I just see a big old claw sticking out there. So I'm assuming he's still there. No, yeah, possibly. Yeah. Apparently, Andrew is saying that is just a broken claw lying on the table, just a casualty of war. Pour one out for the hero jewels, guys. It is just a broken claw. Holy crap, you picked it. There's 2 broken claws. How did they let this happen? Old Forge World, hey? Better pin him. Better pin them all. Um, but yeah, this is looking pretty indomitable position by Scott. It looks quite comfortable to carry this from this position. Is it crazy, or did that neuro throw pile into, or either pile into or heroically intervene into the lock, and possibly in order to keep it there, because knowing that the lock probably had to put all of its attacks into the hive guard. Interesting play to keep him there because, well, it's turn 5. What's the point? Or possibly, well, in saying that, that means he probably didn't consolidate, and that was the consolidate by the lock in order to tag him and trap him. Man, Be'lakor is pretty. Yep. Oh, yeah. So Andrew just pointed out he probably tagged him there and based him so that he couldn't pile in and tap the hive guard again. So e.g., they get to shoot either to try and pull down this keeper, deny some while we stand with fights, try to kill, or to try and kill these demonettes or the nerdlings on the center objective. Because essentially, if he kills the demonettes, he gets the 15. As long as the lictor goes in the top left and the devil gaunts go into the bottom left. So it is a big call. Nick H, absolutely right. Hmm? Yeah, I'm assuming it was only 4 demonettes that got to fight him because he wanted to string back onto that objective. He honestly doesn't need to be on that objective. I'm just going to point out, just does not need to be there. Looks like we've had the advance from the we've definitely had an advance roll go through from the Devil Gaunts. So they got enough onto the bottom left objective. That's 1 obsec unit against a not obsec Beast of Nurgle. I will like to point out Beast of Nurgle has a heroic intervention, but it's not going to matter. He's not killing 28 freaking Gaunts, no chance. So yeah, as long as he picks up these demonettes, I'm assuming the acolytes will fall back. And maintain 1 person on the objective. Picks up the Nurgling, picks up the Demonettes. That's a 15. That's the 15 locked up. He'll hold 3 objectives to 2. Actually, in all intents and purposes, all he needs to do is contest the middle. But taking it is better than not taking it. So that'll put a. I still think Scott wins. He'll get 3 for Stranglehold though for holding 3 objectives to 2. And then he'll get, what will he get? He'll get, only 5 for 2 the last. Is a bit yikes just for the 2 hive guards still being alive there. And of course, they need to be not an inch away from the wall because if they are an inch away from the wall, so if they aren't, the keeper can intervene and pick them up. So he'll get 5 points to the last, 15 on the primary, so it'll be 20 points there, 6 on Stranglehold, to going to 9 on Stranglehold. So we'll go to 29, 35 for Assassination, and 40 up to 50 for a Battle Forged. So 50 points there, and I think Scott's already on more than 50. So he's on 15 for primary, plus 12, 7, and 15. So what's that? That's 32 plus 15, 47, 57. So 57, 51 is how it's sitting right here, right now, with what I'm seeing happening. He did metabolic override. Can you guys hear Andrew? Please confirm. Mm. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. He did metabolic overdrive the Devil Gaunts and take the middle and the bottom left, and we just saw a handshake there. We'll see. I think Scott's going to carry the day by 5 to 6 points, but who knows? There could be some things I haven't seen there. Look at Tyler, such a stylish man with his hat and long locks. Definitely cuts a figure. Could him and Demeki be brothers? Am I crazy? Holy crap! Look at him, guys. They could be brothers. We've created some beautiful symbiosis. Let's jump over to the Sean Naden game. That's probably in the bottom of the innings. We've seen the primary score updated for Naden. He's up to 20 on primary, naturally getting that 15. And he's just so, I mean, in Andrew's words, he has throttled the hell out of that primary score for his opponent. He's picked up another 10 termies, by the way. That other brick of 10 termies, gone. Deleted. The same as the 3-man unit of Blade Guards that was in there. This thing is well and truly cooked. It's just how many points can Joel get out of this with in order to double down, triple down on his ability to get into the final bracket. I really hope we didn't see a Joel go this far not to make the top 8 after doing so damn well and just so many of the absolutely BS OP lists and just carrying the day with essentially a list. Val's telling me to go easy as the fanboy. Hey, shut up! You shut up, man. You want to come commentate? Come commentate. Let's see how you like it. But yeah, he's done so well with a list that was like out of fashion 4 or 5 months ago. He's done really, really, really well, and much of props to him. There's a horrible matchup and a horrible, horrible mission for him. Anybody in chat want to give a shout out? Tell us what you're doing. Who do you want to see in the top 8? And who do you think is going to carry the day? There's 3 more games tomorrow, guys. We're going to be signing off after this one is wrapped up. But man, it is all to play for. We're going to have a top 8, 3 more really exciting rounds, and it is so, oh man, it's going to be pumping. All right, we're still waiting to see if Andrew can join us for the It's like I did the same thing in the last round that Andrew's doing in this round. He's really just gone to the bathroom. He's just like, I'm out of here. I've had enough. This game is lame, guys. No, dude. But yeah, it looks like he's got 1 model left there. Is that? I think that might be Lazarus. And I would not be able to tell you why he's going Lazarus. I would not be able to tell you why he's like yeeting him into that bottom left objective. I actually know why. I figured it out. It's for another Oath of the Moment point to kill a character. He's going to suicide him into a succubus or an archon and just try and pull them down for a single Oath of Moment point. The same thing is what he's doing in the middle here. He's condensing down one of his Terminator bricks in order to get 2 on Oath of Moment. In all reality, Sean can just let the man be. He's just be like, yeah, whatever. I've got this in the bag. Run away. My score's big enough. He's going to be one of the only 2 or 3 undefeated players going into the into day 3 is also. I'm just going to hit refresh on the final standings just to see if any more interesting scores have come through. No, doesn't seem like it. Everyone's still sitting in the same place. Right now, your top 8 reads as thus: Matt Estrada, Cop Mechanicus, Junior Flaky on Drukhari, Matthew Gaia on Mechanicus also. Then we've got Logan Heath with Freebooters, Quinton Johnson with Drukhari, Adrian Phillips of Tabletop Tactics coming in with his Freebooters also, and Matthew Green, Grey Knights, Adam Baker with Imperial Knights. Man, if you no. They chose their name. They chose to have 2 T's in their name. They chose to leave that door open for guys like me to mess it up. I'm sticking by it. Tabletop Tactics, Adrian Phillips. I'm gonna get some angry emails for that one. There's unfortunately he's the last one in for the top 8, and I really hope he sticks there, but most likely Naden pushes him out when his score goes in. Unfortunately, right now, interesting to see Colin McDade only getting 50 on his final score means that he's done. He's out, guys. He had good scores: 95, 79, 94, 77, 88, and even got a 50 in the scouring, getting pummeled by that AdMech list. And it just turned out he's about 10 points shy of what I think is going to make it in there. Because right now, I think the lowest scored player with a defeat that's going to make it is sitting at 495. Andrew, are you back? Can you hear him? Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. Well, it's a bit rough. Apparently, they still can't hear Andrew. Unfortunate as it may be, we're just going to continue. Truck on. The show must go on. Sitting back with Naden. Sitting back with Naden and Joel. I feel like we might be having a dispute, and we might want to shift things over and come back when we've got some final scores. Got nowhere else to go. We're going to stay the course. Yeah, well, in all reality, I think there's going to be 5, maybe even only 10 points on the primary for Joel walking out of this. Looking like 26 to 59. I'm so sorry to say, Joel. I'm not sure that's going to carry the day and keep you in the winner's bracket going into the second day. So close to the sun, my man. So close, and almost made it. Who knows though? Who knows? He might still be adding up scores. He might have another 10, 20 points to add on there, and that could be enough because he was the highest ranked player with a loss going into this. But undoubtedly, Sean Naden is probably going to go into our finals bracket in pole position. Yep. Junior Matthew, yes. Yes. Yeah. Junior Flahy's score is absurd. It's actually absurd. He's sitting on 555. He's dropped 45 points in 6 rounds. There's only missed, and he's lost a game, guys. He lost his round 1 game. Actually, Andrew, if you're still here, a job for you. Who did Junior lose to in round 1? I'd love to know. Very curious what beat him. And he got an 82 in that game as well. So huge loss. Huge scoring loss, not a huge loss. Managed to get him into this finals bracket. And we know Junior. He lost against Jeff Jew. What is that matchup? So Jeff Jew playing. So AdMech versus Drukhari, we know that's a big swingy game. They can go one way or another. Score update from Tyler's game. Did we get final scores there, guys? Anybody able to give me? Yeah, final on the top table. That would be the Scott LaFontaine versus Tyler Bortel. If we can get a final score, that'd be really appreciated. No problems. We got a minute 36 left in this round. Big deal. Yeah, Joel needs at least 37 points to have a chance to make top 8. Hopefully there's another 10 points in there because it's 26 to 59 right now. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, Sean's going to win, but it's just whether or not he has enough to make it into the final. Handshake, it's all over, guys. We're going to get a final score. Beautiful. A good timing too. Voice is just hanging in there, guys. I'm happy to say this carried the day, and I'm going to spend the entire day not speaking, which is very hard for me to do. AdMech went first in Junior's loss. That's great to know. Thank you for Grey Knight 12. And Schmutz just chimed in. Are they allowing people to talk out games at SoCal Open? Generally not. Generally not. We can't govern all games. No one can be here at all games. And I think talking out games shouldn't be a thing. It should not be an accepted practice. It's just a thing people still do, guys. Like sometimes it just happens. So the scores are accurate on your screen as you read them right now. 62 to 53. So yeah, it did carry the day by 9 points to Scott. Damn, that is so close. 9 points. That is a really tight, beautiful game by those two gentlemen. Well done to them. Andrew, are you back with us? I'm not sure if they can hear you, but they can see you. So just be an enjoyable face. Let's try a high five. High five. High five to Andrew. Wrong side. Wrong side. Get it together, man. They're fair. Fair. That's good enough. Good enough. Well done. Well done. Thank you to everybody who's. We're going to be sticking here for a couple more minutes. Yeah, Schmutt, I didn't want to know if you were happy with people calling you by your name. That is Hugh Titchener, very good friend of mine, local to my scene. Thanks for joining us, brother. Thanks to everybody who's joined us in this chat. No sound at all, I believe. 80 to 43 is the final score for that one. So that will likely see Joel into the top 8. Fantastic. Absolutely happy. I can't hear Andrew at all. No, but I'm happy. I'm okay for you to be wrong about that one. That's my boy. My boy Joel is going to make the top 8. I'm very happy about it. We're just going to tread water a little bit, hoping we get a final 8 to tell you guys going in. But it's definitely going to be Matt Estrada, definitely going to be Junior Fleahy, Sean Naden, Matthew Geyer, Scott LaFontaine, most likely Logan Heath, Quinton Johnson, and Adrian Phillips making up our top 8. Matthew Green and Adam Baker, unfortunately, not making the cut. Just giving you a breakdown there for my prediction, because that is 2 players coming into this top 8 that may not be accounted for. That's 3 undefeated players, being Cop Mechanicus, Drukhari, and Chaos Demons. Somehow, go Scott, you absolute gun. But that'll mean two Cop Mechanicus, 2 Drukhari, and only 1 Orks, which is sorry, 2 Orks. Logan Heath and Adrian Phillips both playing Orks. Unfortunately, Grey Knights are probably likely to get pushed out, so it's going to be 2 Drukhari, 2 Orks, 2 AdMech in our top 8. That's weird. Possibly. Just hitting a refresh. Let's see. Still has an update on my screen, but no problems. It'll come through eventually. Thank you to everybody who has supported us so far. Please get a like and share and subscribe. If you are on Twitch, give us a Prime sub. Give us whatever subs you can. Greatly appreciated. We want as much momentum behind this to show that FLG can completely rely on us to produce great content for you guys. We're going to work on our reliability. I think the goal from here is to just make sure we get to stream the entirety of every game. But man, thank you so much. Adrian got pushed out. Wow, oh my god, that is rough. Rough day at the office for Adrian. He would have got pushed out by what? Just a handful of points at best? Because he's only. Oh, sorry, no, he is a fair bit behind. So Quinton Johnson on 516, and he's on 503. So I'm guessing Joel fits between the two of those, doesn't he? Exactly. Joel hit him out. Oh my god, that is so close. I mean, I love the drama around these events, these cut-off events, trying and fighting, clawing to make that top 8. Like, just, it's so cool. It's so amazing. I wish I was out here to be involved. I think at that point we'll sign out, guys. If you want to see any more about this event, please go over to BCP, support them. They support us. They support everyone and enable us to do so much of what we do. Val, love you dearly. Thank you so much for sticking through it, through frustrations. Demeki, Matt, thank you so much for giving up your time. Andrew, I love you, dude. I'm really just getting to know you as well. I gotta say, I'm enjoying the experience. We might sign off on this point if I get a word from the production booth that we're good to go. But guys, in the chat, love you all. See you tomorrow. We're gonna be starting the same time as we started today, which is 3 o'clock in the morning for me. But what is it, Eastern and Pacific, guys? It's either 9 or 9:30. Are we able to get a link to the standings in the chat for people, please? That'd be greatly appreciated. 9:30 a.m. is the start. We've got 3 more games for you. The top 8 will be streaming every single game of the top 8, with the exception of one. We're going to miss out on one of the games of the top 8, but we'll have all the info coming in from that table. So every table will get coverage, just not every table will get a camera. So 9 a.m. PST. We will see you back here tomorrow. 3 more rounds, all the top table goodness. Val, Andrew, and all the rest of the boys, we all say good night to you guys. Enjoy the rest of what you're doing. Do some hobby. Take it easy. Enjoy the day. And thank you so much for all your support, guys. Love you all. Peace out. Well done. Well done. Woo. Andrew, good job, man. Good job. You carried. Fucking was like for half hour. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna have to book it, gents. Enjoy your night, boys. Have a lovely dinner. I want to see us eat funnel cake. Funnel cake. Get onto it.